Chapter 252. She could only stare at her grandmother, stuttering. In the end, she stomped her foot at Jiyu Jingze. Jiyu Jingze smiled and said to her, "Did you hear that? You have to do something next time. I'll supervise you at night. You do it, and I'll enjoy it. Get lost." Jiyu Jingze laughed wickedly. Lin Che really wanted to tear his mouth off. Looking at the big room, Grandma asked curiously, "Is this my ward?" "Yes, Grandma. You have a good rest. You have an operation tomorrow. You've been tired for a few days. Have a good rest." "All right, you two don't have to worry about me. I can sleep anywhere. It's just that this room is too big. I'm not seriously ill, so I'd better go to a smaller ward. I don't want to disturb other people." "No, it's okay. There are many places here. Grandma, you don't have to worry about me." Seeing that Grandma had rested, Lin Che sat there and accompanied her for a while. Seeing that it was getting late and Jiyu Jingze had prepared people for him, he left. In the evening, Jiyu Jingze wanted to go home with Lin Che. However, he had started to work during the day, so his subordinates didn't dare to neglect him. They started to work on the first day of the new year. Therefore, he had to deal with some emails and messages sent from abroad overnight. When he left, Jiyu Jingze was still unhappy. He looked at Lin Che and grabbed her fiercely. He kissed her hard and said, "I really want to strangle you. You only know how to piss me off every day." Lin Che was speechless. "What does it have to do with me?" He shook his head and said, "When I come back, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. You won't be able to get out of bed for 3 days. All right, go to bed first. I'm afraid I'll have to stay at the company tonight." Seeing Jiyu Jingze working so hard, Lin Che felt sorry for him. She knew that he was usually busy, but he kept a distance from her on purpose, so she didn't think much of it. Today, they had talked things out. She knew that he was no longer in contact with Mo Hualing, so she was his only wife. No matter what happened in the future, as a wife, she would definitely care about her husband. Jiyu Jingze was paying for his stubbornness in the morning. Actually, it wasn't a big deal. These jobs had to be done no matter when. He had to do it sooner or later. The next day, Lin Che waited for her grandmother's operation. Thinking that she had been busy yesterday, she didn't have the time to look for anyone. She said coquettishly, "Sister Yu, a woman has to rely on herself. How can I look for a man for everything? Sister Yu is the only capable woman I know. I should look for someone. You." Thinking of how she had been putting on a show yesterday, she didn't have time to look for someone else. She said to Yu Minmin coquettishly, "Sister Yu, women have to rely on themselves. How can you look for a man for everything? Among all the powerful women, Sister Yu is the only one I know. If I didn't look for you, who else would I look for? You. If others heard this, they would really think that I'm very capable." The two of them were familiar with each other, so it was natural for them to joke around. Yang Lingxin watched from the side and smiled, saying, "The outside world actually doesn't know that you're Mrs. Jiyu, Sister Che. Now that I think about it, I still feel very surprised." Lin Che said, "Many artists will keep their marriages a secret. This is nothing." Yu Minmin said, "Who do you think Jiyu Jingze is?" "Xiaoxin, you haven't been in the society for long. With Jiyu Jingze's influence, it's easy for him to keep it a secret. Otherwise, how did he manage to keep such a low profile all these years? Look at the people around him. It's not easy for him to break through. Besides, not many media outlets would dare to broadcast Jiyu Jingze's personal news without his permission, right?" Yang Lingxin nodded. "Oh, I see. Jiyu Jingze keeps a low profile. He's not like those rich and powerful people who like to show off." Her face was still full of admiration as she spoke. She looked at Lin Che and said enviously, "Sis Che, you're so kind-hearted. That's why you met such a good husband. I think it's great that you two are together. Jiyu Jingze is so handsome, and Sis Che is so beautiful." In everyone's eyes, Mrs. Jiyu was so glamorous and beautiful. Lin Che wanted to say that they had met many coincidences along the way. They hadn't gotten along well with each other, but they had gotten along well at the beginning. But he didn't need to tell anyone about it. It was enough to keep it to himself. They wouldn't believe her even if she told them. They might even think that she was showing off on purpose. Lin Che used to have the same mentality. But after he married into the Jiyu family, he realized that it wasn't easy for the Jiyu family. He knew how hard Jiyu Jingze was working. Although the three brothers of the Jiyu family had different paths, they were all working hard on their own paths. None of them wanted to be a carefree young master. Yu Minmin smiled at young Lingxin. You're just a little girl. You're so sensitive. If you really admire him so much, I'll help you talk to him. No, you. I'll just admire him in my heart. But why don't I see Jiyu Jingze today? She looked around curiously. She only saw a few of Jiyu Jingze's men guarding the place, but he wasn't there. Lin Che explained, he had something to do at the company tonight. He's been busy the whole night and hasn't come home yet. I don't think he'll come. Young Lingxin was a little disappointed. She said, all right. Jiyu Jingze must be very busy. He's been busy the whole night. He should have a good rest during the day. Lin Che didn't listen to what she said. He raised his head and saw the lights flashing. The surgery had been going on for half an hour. After a while, the doctor finally came out. Lin Che hurried over. The doctor said to Lin Che respectfully, Mrs. Jiyu, this is the polyp we removed from your grandmother. Please take a look. After the surgery, the results would be shown to the family members. Although Lin Che didn't dare to look at it, she still looked at it carefully, even though she couldn't understand anything. The doctor said, the surgery was successful. We'll take it for testing later. Lin Che heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Mr. Jiyu. Mrs. Jiyu, please believe in our hospital. We'll do our best. Grandma was sent to the ward very quickly. Although it was a minor surgery, she was old after all. She slept there. Lin Che held her hand and thought to herself. She thought that she had no family. Her father didn't want her and her mother passed away. When she was alone, her grandmother appeared again. Now, her grandmother was her only family. Looking at her grandmother, she thought that she had to become stronger so that she wouldn't be like her mother, who couldn't even protect the people she loved. She had to work harder. After sitting there for a long time, a sound came from outside. Someone said that Jiyu Jingze was here. Chapter 253. Lin Che hurriedly raised his head. Just as he was about to get up, a large hand pressed down on his shoulder. Lin Che turned around and saw that Jiyu Jingze's eyes were still a little red. Although his face was still cold and expressionless, his eyes clearly showed the tiredness of a sleepless night. It seemed that he had just finished his work at the company and came over. Before Lin Che could say anything, Jiyu Jingze had already shushed her. He pointed to the bed and took Lin Che's hand with one hand. Silently, he took her out of the room. When they were outside, Jiyu Jingze held her hand and looked at her. How was the surgery? Hearing how hoarse his voice was, Lin Che hurriedly asked, You've been busy and haven't slept yet? Jiyu Jingze said, A few cases were sent here and I handled them together. It's okay. They are almost done. Lin Che felt a little uncomfortable. She couldn't help him at all when she saw him working so hard. She hated that she didn't study economics in the first place. She couldn't help him with his projects at all. Now she even caused trouble for him. She was so busy, but she still came here to care about her grandmother. Grandma is fine. The surgery was very successful, but the test results haven't been received yet, she said. Jiyu Jingze nodded and caressed her face. Then, you don't have to worry too much. Yes, Grandma will be fine. Don't worry too much. If you didn't sleep last night, why don't you take a rest now? Lin Che saw that his eye sockets were a little green. Although he looked decadent, it was still not healthy. Jiyu Jingze said, There are still some things left. Some things left? Didn't you say that they were almost done? Almost. It's not like I'm done. You are so silly. It's okay. I'll handle it in the conference room of the hospital next door. There's not much left. I just need to look at some forms. Lin Che looked back. Grandma was still sleeping soundly. She wouldn't wake up for a while. So she raised her head and said, Then, Is there anything I can help you with? You're helping me by watching me. Jiyu Jingze didn't think that she could do anything with her intelligence. You don't want to? Let me do something. I also know some office tools. At most, I can help you serve tea or something. Don't look down on me. After all, I graduated from university. Lin Che really wanted to help out a little so that he wouldn't look so useless. Jiyu Jingze looked at Lin Che helplessly and nodded. In the end, he still fulfilled her wish. Lin Che immediately skipped and followed him to the next room. The meeting room had been prepared for Jiyu Jingze. The computer and documents were all there. Lin Che walked over to take a look. The forms were filled with numbers. She didn't really understand them. Jiyu Jingze asked, "Why? Do you know how to sort out forms?" Lin Che looked at her and laughed dryly. He found an excuse and said, I'm not good at math. Give me some knowledge about Chinese." Jiyu Jingze said, "Then, can you help me organize the language for this proposal?" Lin Che's lips twitched. She picked up the proposal and looked at it. Fuck, there were so many strange lines on it. She felt dizzy just looking at them. I'm actually not that good at composition for Chinese. I can only memorize poems. Is there anything else? Jiyu Jingze laughed when he saw how silly she was trying to find excuses to save face. The first smile of the morning flashed on his tired face. Lin Che raised his head and saw it with a single glance. Looking at the curve of his lips, the slight curve made Lin Che dumbfounded. Although he didn't smile much, he looked really good when he smiled. Because of his pleasing smile, Lin Che forgave his merciless mockery just now. Jiyu Jingze didn't tease her anymore. He pointed to the documents at the side and said, "You might as well help me organize these documents." "How do I organize them?" As soon as she heard that she had something to do, she cheered up again. Her energetic appearance was very interesting to see. "Arrange them according to the date." Okay, I'll do it. Don't worry, I'll definitely complete the task." Lin Che thought that it was a simple task. She quickly sat down and started working hard. After that, Jiyu Jingze used his thin laptop to type and video chat with others. He was extremely busy speaking in various languages. Lin Che held a pen in her mouth and took notes as she arranged the documents in chronological order. These jobs were really boring. She thought that the life of these office workers was really hard. Although they were so tired from filming, it was still a little interesting. It was so boring. Lin Che finally finished arranging the documents. Seeing that Jiyu Jingze didn't care about her and was still busy, she sat there and waited. After a while, she felt a little drowsy. By the time Jiyu Jingze raised his head, she had already drawn countless circles on his face with her pen. Jiyu Jingze's mood, which was originally gloomy because of the lack of sleep, suddenly brightened up when he saw her little face. He looked at her speechlessly and said, "Lin Che." Lin Che nodded her head in her sleep. She looked so cute. But there was already a circle of saliva on the documents she had just arranged. Speechless, Jiyu Jingze leaned over and pulled the pen away from her chin. Lin Che fell onto the table. After regaining consciousness for a moment, he saw Jiyu Jingze standing beside him with a muffled smile on his face. "Damn it." Lin Che got up and shouted, "Jiyu Jingze, what are you doing?" She wiped her mouth. It was wet. She was shocked and looked down at the table. Indeed, there was a circle of saliva on it. "Oh my God, isn't this information very important?" Lin Che was scared out of his wits. He felt that he had made a grave mistake. She really couldn't do anything right, but was good at spoiling things. "Forget it, it's okay," Jiyu Jingze said. Lin Che looked at Jiyu Jingze. How could she think that it was okay? "Tell me the truth. Is this information very expensive?" "It's not very expensive. This information only involves 3 projects. Each project costs about 1.3 billion yuan. How many billion yuan would that be?" Lin Che was not good at math. She felt her head getting dizzier. "Oh my God, I can't afford it even if I sell myself. What should I do, Jiyu Jingze? What should I do?" Jiyu Jingze thought that she was really stupid. If he didn't keep a close eye on her, with her brain, she wouldn't even know that she was cheated until she lost her underwear. He said that it involved so many projects, but he didn't say that it would really be used to decide on projects worth billions. But Jiyu Jingze thought to himself, I'll let you be anxious for a while. It's your fault for not making me angry. He smiled and moved closer to her. Do you really feel sorry? Yeah. Lin Che felt that she was going to die of guilt. Just then, Jiyu Jingze suddenly grabbed her arm and pulled her up. He pushed her onto the table in front of him. Lin Che sat down on the table with his legs slightly spread apart. The hidden spot in the middle was placed shyly in front of him. Chapter 254. Jiyu Jingze said, if you want to compensate me, you can, as long as you. Jiyu Jingze's body squeezed between her legs. Lin Che looked around instinctively. Although there was no one around, her back was still cold. All right, you. What are you doing here? She wanted to close her legs, but he had already squeezed in between. Her closing only made him even more tightly squeezed. What's wrong? You're in such a hurry? Didn't you say that you don't want me to touch you anymore? It's only been a while, and you can't take it anymore? Get lost, I'm not. Don't worry. I'm not in yet. You don't have to rush. When I'm in, it doesn't matter how tight you squeeze. You, Jiyu Jingze, I'm not squeezing you, but she could already feel his hands moving up her back. Her clothes were pushed up, and only when her chest was exposed did he stop. His eyes twinkled as he stared at her beauty. Lin Che hurriedly covered herself. He smiled and looked at Lin Che, thinking that this fool didn't know that this vague appearance was even more enchanting. He couldn't help but move his lips from her navel up bit by bit. Lin Che looked up immediately. She felt that the man in front of her was attracting all her attention. She raised her head and took deep breaths. But her body was still slowly contracting as if she was out of oxygen. With every movement, it became more and more difficult to endure. Until his lips stopped above her cleavage, his big hands left a large patch of heat. She bit her lip and snorted. But she quickly shook her head. No, not here. He raised his head and looked at her panicked expression. He smiled and pressed his lips against hers. It was a kiss that went deep into her soul, and she was almost defeated. However, he still stopped at this moment. He looked at her with a smile and carefully pulled down her clothes. Okay, I know, not here. Although he really didn't want to let her go, they were in the hospital. He said, okay, save it all up. When we get home, you can find me to satisfy yourself. Scram, who wasn't satisfied, although her heart was a little messed up because of his provocation, but he couldn't say that either. She really wanted to bite him to death. When she went out, she saw that Yu Minmin and Yang Lingxin were still there. When Yu Minmin saw the two of them coming out together, he shook his head and smiled. Behind them, Yang Lingxin's eyes were fixed on Jiyu Jingze. She stared at him, unmoving. Jiyu Jingze said, take a look at Grandma first. I'll deal with it and see when the test results will come out. Lin Che curled his lips and glared at him, looking like he was trying to chase him away. Jiyu Jingze, on the other hand, had returned to his neat and tidy appearance. No one could tell that he had behaved like a beast just now. Seriously, Lin Che thought, this man is a beast in human skin. After they left, Yang Lingxin said from the side, wow, Sis Che, Jiyu Jingze treats you so well. He even specially came to visit Grandma. Yu Minmin nudged Lin Che and said, yeah, you're torturing dogs every day. Lin Che glared at her. Who's showing off? Yu Minmin said, do you think I'm blind? You looked so distracted when you came out. Yu Minmin saw that Lin Che couldn't hide the expression on his face and blushed. She quickly said, all right, let's get down to business. Lin Che, I'm here to congratulate you. I just found out that you've been nominated for Best Actress at the Panda TV Festival. Ah, no way. Lin Che was stunned. Yu Minmin said, well, it hasn't been announced to the public yet. But I know someone inside, so he told me in advance when he found out about it. Yang Lingxin asked, puzzled, is this award very important? Yu Minmin said, of course. To the people in country CSTV industry, this is the Emmy Award. Wow, that's amazing. Yang Lingxin looked at Lin Che. Sis Che, congratulations. You've won Best Actress. Lin Che was very surprised. He felt that it was impossible. Last year, she had won the Best Newcomer award at the Panda TV Festival and was already very happy. But this year, she was nominated for Best Actress. She was really lucky. She didn't expect it. Luckily, she was excited for a while and didn't let it get to her head. She looked at Yang Lingxin and said, "It's just a nomination. There will be a few nominees competing for it. I'm sure there will be a lot of people competing for the Panda TV Festival. I guess I won't have anything to do with it." Yu Minmin said, "Don't say that. It's good enough to be nominated." "Yeah, being nominated is already a great recognition for me. Of course I'm happy to be nominated. Even if I don't, I'm still very satisfied." Lin Che didn't have much hope for herself. She had just entered the industry and there were so many seniors. How could they give it to her so easily? Although the public had given her the title of one of the 4 beauties, it didn't mean that she was really an A-lister. Whether she could become an A-lister or remain a semi-famous celebrity depended on her hard work in the future. Just then, Jiyu Jingze came back. He said that his grandmother's report would be out in 4 days. This was the fastest they could do. Although Lin Che was a little worried, she had to wait patiently. Lin Che looked at Jiyu Jingze and said, "I was nominated for Best Female Lead in the Panda TV Festival." Seeing that Lin Che was so happy, Jiyu Jingze said, "Really? Congratulations." "Hihi, although the chances of winning are not high, I'm still very happy. The report isn't out yet. It'll probably be a while before it's out. The award ceremony is next month." "Aya, I'm going to the Panda TV Festival again." Jiyu Jingze said, "Yeah, because you're capable. You should be participating in it anyway." Lin Che turned to look at his grandmother and said, "I want to see Grandma. I don't want to go back. I want to prepare a house for Grandma and see if she's willing to stay here. It'll be convenient for me to take care of her." Jiyu Jingze said, "That's a good idea. But it still depends on Grandma. If she's willing, she can find a house near us and send someone to take care of her." When Lin Che heard that he was going to make arrangements, he felt that his arrangements would be very grand. "I'll just find an apartment. The thing is, if it's too far away from us, it'll be inconvenient for us to take care of her." Lin Che thought about it and agreed. Jiyu Jingze said, "Leave it to me." "But, you're my wife. Your grandmother is my grandmother. Shouldn't I take care of her?" "No buts. When Grandma wakes up, we'll make arrangements. I'll send someone to look after the house first." This man was really overbearing at times like this. He didn't allow anyone to reject him. After he finished speaking, he turned around to give instructions to the others. However, Yu Minmin and Yang Lingxin, who were listening quietly at the back, looked at Lin Che with a smile. Yang Lingxin said to Yu Minmin, "Looks like Jiyu Jingze treats Sister Che very well. I'm so envious. He's so handsome and treats people so well." Chapter 255. Yu Minmin looked at Yang Lingxin. "That's enough. They are husband and wife. Of course they have a good relationship. The rumors about Jiyu Jingze are not fake. Don't be fooled by President Gu's appearance." Hearing this, Yang Lingxin looked in Jiyu Jingze's direction and nodded hurriedly. Yu Minmin said, "Lin Che is lucky. She is so stupid that she can't even cook well. Luckily, the Jiyu family has everything and she doesn't need to do anything." Grandma woke up quickly. Lin Che stayed by her side and smiled at her. "Grandma, how are you feeling?" "I'm fine. I just had a long dream," she said. Lin Che smiled. "Oh yes, Grandma, since you have come to be city and you are getting old, why don't you stay here and let me take care of you from now on?" Grandma hurriedly said, No, Xiaoche." Lin Che was a little surprised that Grandma would reject him without hesitation. "Why? Grandma, isn't this place good?" "No, it's just that, Xiaoche, this place is good. I really feel that the ravine we lived in is not good. No wonder your mother doesn't want to go back after she came out. Really, this place is great. It has everything. But Grandma is getting old. I've lived there all my life and I don't have many years left. It's better that I go back." Lin Che's eyes became moist when he heard this. But Grandma, you are alone there, not alone. Although our place is small, the neighbors are very nice. They are like a family and they will take care of me. How can I be alone? Don't I still have you now? Although we are very far away, I can still call you when I miss you. I can still come to see you when I miss you, right? Lin Che looked at Grandma's old face. He really didn't want her to go back like this. Outside, Jiyu Jingze went out to make arrangements and returned to the hospital. In the corridor, a cheerful female voice said happily, "President Jiyu, you are back." He turned around and saw young Lingshan standing at the side. When he faced people, his expression was cold as usual, without any warmth. He only looked to the side and asked curtly, "Where are the others?" Young Lingshan said, "Sister Che is accompanying Grandma in the ward. Sister Yu has returned to the company to deal with urgent matters. President Jiyu, by the way." Young Lingshan took out an exquisite lunchbox from behind. "I think President Jiyu hasn't eaten yet, so I made some lunchboxes when I got home. Would President Jiyu like to try it?" Jiyu Jingze narrowed his eyes and looked at her face. Young Lingshan raised her head and smiled, her eyes filled with anticipation. After a while, Jiyu Jingze said, "No, I've eaten." After that, he didn't look at her again and walked into the ward. Young Lingshan was still holding up her brand new lunchbox. Her expression was stiff as she stood there, her face filled with disappointment. Yu Minmin had just told her that Lin Che didn't know how to cook, so she ran home full of hope and made a beautiful box of bento. But, to her surprise, Jiyu Jingze didn't want it. Looking in the direction of the ward, she felt wronged and bit her lower lip. Lin Che came out of the ward and looked at Jiyu Jingze. Grandma said that she doesn't want to stay. She just wants to return to her roots one day. What should I do? Lin Che was a little sad. Her eyes flickered as she looked at Jiyu Jingze. Jiyu Jingze said, "I can understand Grandma's thoughts. She has lived there all her life. She doesn't want to change at such an old age. She can adapt to life better when she's younger, but it's hard for an older person to adapt to a new place. But I'm a little worried about Grandma. What if something happens to her over there?" Lin Che said. Jiyu Jingze gently played with her hair and looked at her. Although this little girl was silly at times, she was actually a kind-hearted girl. Her thoughts were also very meticulous. "All right, I'll arrange for someone to look after Grandma and help her. Even if she's over there, she won't be alone anymore. You don't have to worry too much." Lin Che hadn't thought of this just now. After hearing Jiyu Jingze's words, she said, "Yeah, we can do that." But she still raised her head and said, "But isn't it a little too troublesome?" She was causing trouble for him again. This made her feel a little embarrassed. "What's so troublesome about it? Didn't I say that your grandmother is my grandmother? But, if you say but again, I'll be angry." Jiyu Jingze glared at her. All right, all right, all right. I won't say any more." She looked at Jiyu Jingze warmly. "Thank you, Jiyu Jingze. If you really feel grateful, you should be more obedient and smarter. Don't always be so stupid. Get lost. You're just too smart. We're just ordinary people. To us, people like you are the abnormal ones." However, although Grandma didn't want to stay, she could still stay here for a while for the time being. After all, it wasn't easy for her to come here. She should stay for a few days to rest and have some fun. Moreover, she should have a good rest after the surgery. Therefore, the house that Jiyu Jingze found nearby was put to good use. Since it was a minimally invasive surgery, Jiyu Jingze didn't stay in the hospital for too long. He found someone to bring Grandma to the villa. On the way, Grandma sat in the car with Lin Che on one side and young Lingshan, who volunteered to help, in the front. The three of them walked towards the villa. It was young Lingshan's first time sitting in such an expensive car. She touched the leather and said, "Sister Che, is this car very famous?" Lin Che looked at her naive look. It was the same as how he was back then. However, Lin Che didn't know much about this. He still couldn't tell which car was which. He recognized the Porsche logo, but the difference in price between Porsches was huge. It was really hard for her to tell which was the expensive one and which was the cheap one. Lin Che said, I don't know much about this either. It should be quite expensive. Young Lingxin smiled cutely. This is the first time I've seen so much with you, Sister Che. That's because you've just entered society. However, whether it's a famous brand or not, it's all for others to see. Work hard and live a happy life. That's the most important thing. Because he really liked young Lingxin, Lin Che didn't joke around and said to her seriously. When young Lingxin heard that, she quickly nodded her head, looking very obedient. Soon, they arrived at the villa. After they got out of the car, Grandma looked at the villa from the outside and said, Wow, whose courtyard is this? It's so nice. Lin Che smiled and brought the two of them in to take a look. Grandma couldn't stop praising, This is too big. How can I live here? Lin Che said, This place is closer to where I live. Jiyu Jingze has sent someone to take care of you. There will be a doctor here for the next few days, so you can live here without worry. Lin Che went out to arrange for someone to take care of the villa. Grandma looked at young Lingxin and said, Xiao Che, you married Jingze. Isn't he very good? Chapter 256. Young Lingxin smiled. Grandma, you don't know, but the president is Jiyu Jingze's brother. The biggest building in Country C belongs to Jiyu Jingze. The best house belongs to Jiyu Jingze. The richest person is also Jiyu Jingze. So, Sister Che's marriage couldn't be better. Wow, that's amazing. Although she didn't really understand, she knew what it meant by couldn't be better was. She looked around in admiration and muttered to herself, I've never lived in such a nice house before. It's really like a palace. However, young Lingxin didn't want to say anything more. She turned around and her expression turned cold. Lin Che was relieved that his grandma was resting here. He went straight to the company and helped Yu Minmin deal with the company's matters. The Panda TV festival soon made an announcement and the list of nominees was published online. Everyone saw that Lin Che had been nominated for the Best Female Lead Award with her first leading role in a TV series. Everyone was shocked. However, someone soon realized that Mu Feiran was also nominated for the Best Female Lead Award. The netizens immediately said, That's it. Lin Che probably has nothing to do with it anymore. If Mu Feiran is here, what else can I do? However, there were also people who said that maybe the Panda TV Festival wanted to do something special this year, so that Lin Che could make a big comeback and attract people's attention. However, in the company, the studio was a little gloomy. They felt that they had finally been nominated, but they actually met Mu Feiran. They felt that they had made a big mistake. However, Lin Che clapped his hands and said to everyone, All right, I'm just going to take a look today. We'll definitely win next year, okay? Yu Minmin said, That's enough. How can you boost morale like that? You just gave up. Lin Che said, Forget it. With Sister Feiran around, I definitely won't have anything to do with it. It's fine as long as I can get nominated. Look at the nominees. They're all A-list celebrities. If I can get in, it'll be an honor, right? Yu Minmin said, You're right. Forget it. Although we don't have much hope of winning, we're going to the Panda TV Festival after all. Let's cheer up and get Lin Che's wardrobe ready. Oh yeah, let's see if there are any good brand sponsors. If we can get a few, it'll be very eye-catching. Everyone listened to the conversation between the two of them and continued to get busy. In the evening, when Shen Yuran heard that Lin Che's grandmother had come, he specially came over to visit her. Shen Yuran walked with Lin Che. She felt strange as she looked ahead. Jiyu Jingze is so nice to you. He even bought such a big house for your grandmother. But it's true. This house is expensive to us, but to Jiyu Jingze, it's just a piece of real estate. Shen Yuran was funny and clever, so Grandma had a good impression of her. However, Grandma still needed to rest after the operation. After sitting for a while, they told the servants of the Jiyu family to take good care of Jiyu Changle and left. When they went back to their respective homes, Shen Yuran received a call from her family. Her family wanted her to come home quickly because they had something to tell her. Shen Yuran was speechless as she said, My parents are still busy introducing boyfriends to me. It's as if they can't wait for me to get married tomorrow. Lin Che said, if that's the case, I actually think Dr. Chen is pretty good. Forget it, I'm not worthy. Alright, bye-bye, I'll go back first. Shen Yuran then said goodbye to Lin Che. Shen Yuran was on her way home. She was worried that she would see a few people at home when she got home, so she picked up the phone and called her mother. Mom, why do you want me to go home? I'm telling you, I will never go on a blind date again. Don't try to trick me into going home. It's really not a blind date. Chapter 257. Chen Yuqing strode over from the stone slab to Shen Yuran's side. Like a cool breeze, he pulled Shen Yuran over. Shen Yuran hadn't expected him to suddenly appear here. She looked up at him with a dull expression. Zhu Minhan didn't ignore the branded watch and clothes he was wearing, not to mention the Aston Martin that was worth nearly 10 million yuan behind him. Zhu Minhan looked at him curiously. Who are you? It's none of your business between me and Shen Yuran. Chen Yuqing glanced at Shen Yuran. And who are you? Zhu Minhan said, I'm Yuran's boyfriend. Heh, I've never heard her mention it before. He snorted. Zhu Minhan looked at Chen Yuqing and remembered that Shen Yuran had been very close to her boss recently. Oh, I know. You must be the boss of her company, he said. Chen Yuqing just glanced at him and snorted contemptuously. So what if I am? Zhu Minhan said directly to Shen Yuran, Yuran, don't be fooled by him. This kind of person with a little bit of money likes to deceive a little girl like you who doesn't know much about the world. You should stay as far away from him as possible in the future. As he spoke, he was about to come over again. However, Chen Yuqing pressed down on his outstretched hand. With a forceful push, he howled and retreated to the side. Chen Yuqing snorted. He shook his hand and grabbed Shen Yuran's shoulder with one hand. Shen Yuran was stunned. She looked at Chen Yuqing and leaned close to his shoulder. She didn't smell like a doctor's disinfectant. Instead, he smelled sweet, like a green apple. Chen Yuqing looked at the dumbfounded man in front of him. That's right. I love to deceive naive girls like her. She's my girlfriend now. If you dare to get close to her again, I won't be polite to you. Zhu Minhan's expression changed. Although Shen Yuran wasn't ugly, how could a girl like her enter the eyes of such a person? You. Impossible. You're lying to me. You're definitely not dating. Chen Yuqing looked at him. Why? Will you only believe me if we make out in front of you? With that, Chen Yuqing pinched her chin tightly with one hand. She raised her head and looked at him with glassy eyes. When she felt his aura getting closer and closer, her heart started to beat faster. Up close, he was actually quite good-looking. Especially that pair of high and mighty eyes. At this moment, it was very interesting. When Zhu Minhan saw this, he couldn't stand it anymore. He shouted, all right, I believe you. He glared at Shen Yuran unwillingly. After a long time, he finally said, all right, Yuran, I'm the one who loves you. You'll know sooner or later. Don't be bewitched by him now. When the time comes, you'll know that this kind of old man is the best at deceiving people. Don't worry, I'll always be waiting for you. With that, he glared at Chen Yuqing and fled with his tail between his legs. Shen Yuran had never imagined that he would have such a good time. After he left and he let go of her, she looked up and said, thank you for today. Chen Yuqing said, let's see what sort of taste you had in the past. Shen Yuran said, who hasn't loved a few scumbags when they were young? All right, that's not an excuse. You'd better stay away from this kind of man. A good horse doesn't return to the grass. Don't cause trouble for yourself. Of course I know that. But I didn't expect him to come back to me. Oh yes, why did you come back to me? I was just passing by. Chen Yuqing looked around and said, go up. It's late. I'll watch you go back, lest you get cheated at your own doorstep. You're so annoying. How could that be possible? As Shen Yuran spoke, he took a deep look at him. For the first time, she felt that this tall and strong man wasn't really that annoying. Actually, she already knew that Chen Yuqing was a good person, but his mouth was a little rotten. She also knew that this tall and strong man had a reason for his arrogance. He was capable, rich, and had a high status. Naturally, he had the right to be arrogant. Jiyu Jingza's busiest days coincided with Grandma's stay. Lin Che didn't see him for a few days, but he still called every day to ask what Lin Che was doing. Lin Che answered them one by one. From time to time, he could hear Jiyu Jingza on the other end of the line listening to some news call. Grandma looked at Lin Che's phone call with a sweet expression on her face. She smiled and said to Lin Che, "Your mother used to be like this too. When she was young, she was actually in a relationship with a young man. I know all about it. She used to write letters. She didn't have a phone back then, and the way she wrote letters was different." "Lou, isn't it Lin?" Lin Che was peeling an orange when he heard Grandma's words. He tilted his head and asked casually. "No, of course not," Lin Che said. Lin Che said, "Then why is she with my dad? I don't know about this. Your mother has been full of ideas since she was young. She doesn't tell me anything." Lin Che didn't mind. When Yu Minmin called to ask her to try on some clothes at the company, Lin Che told Grandma to rest first and went to the company. Yu Minmin picked a few clothes for her and asked about the clothes of the others. "I asked. Mu Feiran is wearing a black gown. You mustn't choose black. It'll be easy for people to say that you're comparing yourself to her. Qin Wanwan is wearing blue, Song Shuhai is wearing pink, Xin Xiaoyuan is wearing green, and Wang Qingchu is wearing green." Lin Che nodded. He thought in his heart, "It's just a panda TV festival, why do I have to use so much brainpower?" At home, she kept worrying about her wardrobe, not knowing what color she should wear. At this time, Jiyu Jingza happened to come back. He saw her scratching her ears and cheeks and thought that she looked quite cute like this. He had really been twisted by her sense of beauty. How could she even think that she was pretty in this state? "Jiyu Jingza, you came back at the right time. Help me take a look and see which clothes I should choose." Jiyu Jingza asked, "What are you doing?" "I'm going to the Panda TV festival. I heard that I'm looking for a few big brands to sponsor clothes for me. Big sis, you asked me to think about what color I should wear first so that I can get sponsors. What do you think about blue?" Jiyu Jingza shook his head and said, "It doesn't look good." "Then, what about red?" "It doesn't look good either." "Then what should I do?" Lin Che didn't know how to choose. Jiyu Jingza smiled. He took Lin Che's little hand and made her sit on his lap. He thought for a moment and said, "Forget it. I'll arrange it for you later. You don't have to worry about the clothes." Lin Che looked at him. "Are you going to help me get sponsors from big brands?" Jiyu Jingza was speechless. What sponsorship? However, he didn't explain it to her in detail. "Just wait." Chapter 258. Since Lin Che didn't know anything about it, he decided to wait for him to prepare. On the day of the Panda Television Festival, the police cordoned off the entire area. Outside the venue, it was a star-studded scene. The reporters held up their cameras and took pictures of all the celebrities, afraid that a big shot would be missed. As for the fans, they had already surrounded the perimeter of the stage. Online and on television, many people were eagerly waiting for the live broadcast of the television festival. Meanwhile, in the company, Lin Che, who was about to attend the television festival, was urgently preparing his outfit. Just then, a group of people came in and said that they were here to deliver something to Lin Che. Under the astonished gazes of the people in the company, the group of people lined up neatly in front. The trays in their hands looked so exquisite that it made people speechless. The employees who had never seen such a scene before sighed at the back. Why did they look so professional and cultured, as if they were professionals? Lin Che suddenly thought of something and said to Yu Minmin, "It should be the sponsored clothes sent by Jiyu Jingza." After the people in front bowed to Lin Che, they opened the things on the trays one by one. Gasps of admiration could be heard from the people around them. It was a very fairy-like gown. It was a lotus root purple dress with straps on the shoulders and a ribbon at the waist. There was a long slit at the bottom. After Lin Che put it on, she looked like she had walked out of a painting. There was also a bunch of jewelry that matched the dress. Lin Che said, There's jewelry too. Yu Minmin said, that's great. Boss Gu is really thoughtful. Let's pack up and go. After dressing up, the car was ready outside. Lin Che entered the venue at the back of the line. The reason was simple. She was nominated for the Best Actress. The Panda Television Festival was a gathering of stars. Before entering, she could already see the lights of the fans in the distance, flashing the names of the big names. Every big name was amazing and made Lin Che look forward to it. In the middle, there were people holding her photos. Although there weren't as many as the A-list celebrities, she was still very happy. At the end of the day, she was someone with fans. Before Lin Che reached the venue, the people on the red carpet were already talking about it. I'm surprised that Lin Che was nominated for the Best Actress. Her drama series isn't very popular. But it won't be her turn. How long has it been since she entered the industry? He has a backer. Why? Can't I? Humph, I'd like to know how strong her backing is. Is it strong enough to help her kill Mu Feiran tonight? It was natural that no one liked Lin Che. Wherever there were women, there would be disputes. Moreover, they were all Lin Che's competitors. Lin Che had just become famous not long ago. Before she became famous, everyone knew that Lin Che used to be a minor character who couldn't even get a role. Who knew that she would become popular after she got a role in Jiyu Jingyu's TV series. She was just a supporting character, but she was even more popular than the main character. She was practically an instant hit. Now, in less than a year, she was already competing for the Best Female Lead award. Naturally, no one wanted to praise her. They just wanted to see how she would fall from the sky and die tragically one day. At this moment, there was a commotion on the red carpet. Everyone looked over and saw that it was another popular celebrity who had entered. Qin Wanwan, who had just starred in a movie, was dressed generously. She was filming the movie and also had a scandal with the male lead, which made her very popular recently. She had also participated in the Spring Festival Gala, which successfully made people gasp in admiration. Although she was only a guest presenter this time, she was still a hot topic. When someone saw her coming in, they couldn't help but exclaim at her clothes. Look at her. She's wearing branded clothes. Yeah. She's famous now. She's also walking a high-end path. The sponsors she gets are all from big brands. Wow, the jewelry she's wearing is from Cartier, right? That dress is from Chanel, right? Isn't that a designer brand? Everyone exclaimed in admiration at the big-name sponsors she had. They were all envious of her. Many people liked to get a brand to sponsor them at such a big event. It was just like if a person could get a big-name sponsor for an advertisement, it meant that the person was popular. If a person could get a big-name sponsor for an advertisement, it could also judge whether a person was popular or not. Qin Wanwan's outfit was truly breathtaking. Everyone's gaze involuntarily turned to look at her and started to discuss her. Qin Wanwan walked the red carpet very quickly. She smiled at the cameras. When she was being interviewed, she also smiled at everyone. She looked very graceful and there was a hint of pride on her face. Thinking that her panel would be very big tomorrow, everyone was a little jealous. At this moment, someone said that Lin Che was here. The television festival's car stopped at the end of the red carpet. The car came to a stop, and Lin Che stepped out with his long legs. The side with the slit looked extremely seductive. His long-sleeved thighs were very fair and tender. Following that, his other leg also stepped out, drawing even more people's attention to the beautiful gown she was wearing. She looked extremely beautiful. She supported the blonde television festival's bodyguard with one hand. After she came down, she felt the lights flashing. Cameras and video cameras were all aimed at her and couldn't stop taking pictures. After all, she was a finalist for the Best Female Lead award. It was impossible for her to get little attention. The last time she came, she was still a newcomer and the attention wasn't as high as this time. Feeling everyone's eyes on her, she seemed to have become the center of attention. Lin Che also felt a little excited. The one who came with Lin Che was the male lead of her drama series. At this moment, he was naturally standing to the side. The two of them looked very beautiful. When they walked into the venue together, The surrounding fans screamed. The people behind couldn't help but look at her gown and accessories. They suddenly realized that the clothes she was wearing weren't from some popular brand. Instead, they were some clothes and accessories that they couldn't understand. Someone exclaimed, "Oh my God, her clothes look like they were handmade by the famous Italian designer, Geneve. Isn't that unique in the world? And her necklace. What's that? It looks like a huge diamond. Is it real or fake? Is she crazy? She's attending the Panda Television Festival and she's wearing a fake." Everyone forgot about Qin Wanwan, who was wearing a branded gown. They were all guessing whether Lin Che's clothes were real and how big the diamond on the accessory was. At this moment, someone outside exclaimed with surprise and said that Mu Feiran had arrived. Chapter 259. Of course, Mu Feiran was still the center of attention. She didn't need any designer accessories and wore plain clothes, but she was still the center of attention. Was this the charm of an A-list celebrity? Lin Che went inside and safely passed the red carpet. He greeted the fans and even went over to take pictures, which made the fans scream even more. When she saw the fans, she forgot Yu Minmin's warning. She didn't want to get too close to the fans in case of danger. Fortunately, nothing happened in the end. He only raised his head to take a look when he heard the exclamation. Meanwhile, outside the red carpet, Lin Li finally squeezed into the crowd. She came with the crew to attend the television festival, but she was just a minor character, so she didn't have a car to sit in. With so many people entering the venue, she didn't look as impressive as the big stars. She looked inside angrily and yelled at the organizer, "What's wrong with you? Why didn't we take the Lincoln Stretch limousine? Why did we have to walk in?" The crew member thought to himself, "What's the big deal with you guys? You're just here to join in the fun. Of course you don't have a car." However, he could only say carefully, "Sorry, there are too many of you. Can't we come in batches?" The crew member only smiled awkwardly. She pointed at the red carpet angrily. Then why did Lin Che do it? There are so many people in the crew. Why did she go there alone with the male lead? The crew member couldn't help but laugh. How can you compare yourself with Lin Che? Miss Lin Che is a candidate for the Best Actress award, and she's one of the 4 most popular stars now. In other words, she was implying, who do you think you are? She's a celebrity. Lin Li's face twisted in anger. However, she had been in low spirits recently. She didn't have anything, and her engagement with the Qin family had been cancelled. She didn't dare to be proud of herself for a long time. At this moment, she happened to hear someone shouting Lin Che's name. She looked up and saw that they were all Lin Che's fans. Inside, Lin Che was waving his hands generously and greeting them. That look made her feel disgusted and angry. Seriously, who was she? Didn't she exchange her body for fame? But she couldn't say that she wasn't jealous. She wanted to exchange her body, but Jiyu Jingze ignored her. Lin Li could only snort. She thought, "You're just an illegitimate child. You're just lucky. How dare you compare yourself with me? Humph. I'll step on you sooner or later." Lin Che had just sat down when he saw Jiyu Jingyu walking over. Lin Che hurriedly said, "Senior Jingyu, you're here." Jiyu Jingyu said, "Yeah, I saw your audition a few days ago. You're indeed someone I like. You did a good job. Once you sign the contract, we'll start shooting the movie." Lin Che had already gone to Jiyu Jingyu's place to watch his fantasy movie. Yu Minmin said that they had informed her that it had been approved. Lin Che was also very happy to continue working with Jiyu Jingyu. Especially after hearing what Mu Wanqing had said, Lin Che felt that he liked Jiyu Jingyu even more. He couldn't tell that he was still quite affectionate. At this moment, Qin Wanwan also came over. "Lin Che, wow, you're so pretty today." Lin Che smiled, "Thank you." Qin Wanwan said, "Congratulations to you too. You were nominated for Best Actress. I hope you can win." Lin Che said humbly, "Forget it. That's because your TV series didn't make it in time. Otherwise, we might be competitors. Although that TV series won another award, it's nothing compared to the Panda TV Festival." Oh right, what movie were you guys talking about? Qin Wanwan's eyes twinkled as she looked at the two of them and asked. Lin Che said, oh right, your movie has been released, right? I think the box office is pretty good. Yeah, the box office is better during the holidays. Qin Wanwan naturally felt very proud of the movie that had just become popular. Their topic was diverted. At this moment, they saw Mu Feiran walking over. Hey, Jingyu, Lin Che, you guys are here too. Lin Che quickly shook hands with the senior. Mu Feiran looked at Jingyu with a smile. Jingyu, it's been a long time since we've worked together. Let's work together next time. Jingyu didn't give her any face at all. Forget it. I've worked with you so many times that I want to vomit. You're not sick of it yet. The two of them had a good relationship in private, so Jinyu's tone was obviously joking. Mu Feiran snorted. You don't want me now that you have Lin Che. As expected, you only see the newcomers smile, but not the old ones. Don't tell me you want Lin Che to be the female lead in your new movie too? Qin Wanwan turned to look at him when she heard that. Lin Che laughed dryly and didn't answer. Jinyu said bluntly, it's none of your business. You have a lot of things to do. Go and evaluate your award. Mu Feiran curled her lips and smiled before turning her head away. Lin Che looked at Jinyu. You're also close to Sister Feiran. Jinyu said, you can learn from Mu Feiran. She's a person you can date. She's a good person. I've known her since she debuted, so of course I'm familiar with her. When she debuted, she was in a worse state than you. She's also an infatuated person. She's been married to someone for a long time and hasn't announced it yet. No way. She's married in secret. But didn't she want to keep her marriage a secret? Most celebrities would want to keep their marriages a secret. Jinyu shook his head. She doesn't want to. Her husband has a special identity and doesn't want to announce it. Wow. What identity? He's the boss of a movie company. Lin Che said, you really trust me. You told me everything. Of course. If you dare to tell anyone, I'll break your legs. Do you think you can fight against me with your small arms and legs? Lin Che curled his lips and glared at him. Jinyu looked at this silly girl. Although she looked silly, she seemed to have a special magic power that made people want to trust her unconsciously. Mu Feiran also noticed Qin Wnwan at this moment and greeted her. While they were chatting, the television festival finally began. Lin Li was arranged to sit in the last row. At first glance, she saw that Lin Che was sitting with a bunch of big shots, including Jinyu and Mu Feiran. They were all A-list big shots. She found it hard to accept that the gap between them was so big. Since when did Lin Che reach such a high position that she had to look up to him? Of course, she was unwilling to accept it, but she could only sit in the back and watch. She thought about how this stinky girl used to be an illegitimate daughter who wore her tattered clothes. Now, the tables had turned. The television festival began one after another, and the awards were given out like flowing water. From small awards to big awards, they began to be awarded one after another. Chapter 260. Jinyu said, all right. Since you're so self-aware, I won't stand on ceremony with you. Hearing Jinyu's words, Lin Che glared at him. How can you be like this? Shouldn't you be encouraging me and telling me that I still have a chance? But Feiran is indeed very capable. I can't be so hypocritical, can I? Get lost. Friendship is a boat that can capsize just like that. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Although he said that, Lin Che actually knew that it was impossible for him to win the award today. The heavyweight awards finally started to be presented. On the stage, after a round of performances, the host invited the guest presenters to present the Best Actress award. Mu Feiran was nominated for a palace drama, while Lin Che was nominated for a modern drama. There was also a spy drama, which was based on a realistic theme. The screen moved on the four of them, and the host's voice echoed in the magnificent hall. When it came to Mu Feiran, her journey echoed on the screen. From being the fourth female lead, to becoming the queen of conversation, and then to finally proving herself with her acting skills. Mu Feiran had walked steadily all the way to her current position. In fact, it was very admirable. Next, it was Lin Che's turn. Lin Che's resume was pitifully short. On the screen, an impassioned voice narrated Lin Che's past. From an unknown walk-on to a supporting actress, to a topic of constant discussion, to being named one of the 4 new starlets. Lin Che used a year to show us what it meant to be an instant hit. We looked forward to more of her works, and we looked forward to seeing her perform even better in the entertainment industry. Lin Che felt that he was very lucky to have this day. In the past, he would never have thought that he would be able to have this kind of achievement. Then, it was finally time to announce the results. So, the Best Actress award of this year's Panda TV Festival is Mu Feiran. Sure enough, there was no suspense. Mu Feiran stood up and walked to the stage with a smile as everyone congratulated her. Lin Che sat down below, his heart also relaxed a little. Although he knew that it wouldn't be him, he still felt a little disappointed. Because if he was nominated, it meant that he still had hope. Now that his hope was gone, he would definitely feel a little disappointed. Lin Che looked at Mu Feiran, who was giving her acceptance speech in a very professional manner. She had already lost count of the number of awards she had won, so she looked very calm and her expression did not change much. Sitting there, Lin Che wondered when he would be able to achieve what Mu Feiran had achieved, slowly but surely. She had only just started on this path. Sometimes, fans didn't mean anything. Being famous for so many years like Mu Feiran was the real deal. At this moment, Qin Wanwan, who was sitting in front of him, also turned around. She looked at Lin Che and said, "Lin Che, being nominated has already proven your ability. Don't mind it too much. Although you didn't win this time, you can definitely do it next time." Lin Che smiled, "Thank you for your consolation. It's alright, I already knew that I wouldn't get the award anyway. The most important thing this time is to participate." "Yeah, I'm already very envious that you were nominated," Qin Wanwan said with a smile. Many people looked at him as if they were saying that if they knew that Lin Che wasn't capable, they would just be cannon fodder today. Lin Che was originally in a good mood, but when he saw these gazes, he felt a little depressed. Whether she won the award or not, it had nothing to do with them. As if noticing those gazes, Qin Wanwan turned around and continued to comfort him. "Alright, Lin Che, that's how they are. They don't like to help when you are in need and they like to hit you when you are down. Isn't that how the industry works? Don't mind it too much." Lin Che forced a smile and said, "It's fine, they can just watch it. I think I'm doing pretty well now. It's much better than when I didn't have any films in the beginning." Yeah. On the screen, the awards were still being announced. After the Best Actor and Best Film awards were announced, the host's high-spirited voice rang out again. "Next up, the highly anticipated online voting for the Most Popular Actor and Actress award is finally going to be announced. A minute ago, the online voting channel was closed. Now, everyone can see our latest data. After a month of online voting, hundreds of millions of netizens have finally voted for tonight's King of Fashion." In the next moment, the data was displayed on the big screen. Lin Che's data was also displayed, and everyone could clearly see that her name was much higher than everyone else's. The host turned around and said with a smile, "Congratulations, the winner of this year's King of Fashion, the online voting for the most popular female lead, is Lin Che." Everyone's sympathetic gazes turned around again with a hint of surprise and jealousy. However, the data from the Panda TV Festival couldn't be faked. If it was hers, it was hers. Jiyu Jingyu nudged Lin Che. "Why aren't you getting up to receive your award?" Lin Che was taken aback. Before she could react, she stood up woodenly. All the attention on Lin Che was focused on the Best Female Lead award. Since she didn't expect to be nominated, she forgot about the online voting. However, she never thought about it because there were too many nominees. She always felt that she wouldn't get a chance and that she wouldn't have a lot of fans. Hence, she appeared a little dazed and looked especially funny. She walked up woodenly and even when she received the award, she was still in disbelief. Mu Feiran came down after receiving her award. Qin Wanwan looked ahead and said with a smile, I didn't expect it to be Lin Che. But it makes sense. She's been participating in many shows recently and they're all very eye-catching. She's very likable and has a great variety show effect. Her reviews online are also very high. Qin Wanwan said, yes, Lin Che is very outstanding. However, Lin Che had never been looked upon favorably by anyone. After all, she came from a poor background and her rise to fame was an accident. She wasn't the type that the company thought highly of, so they never spent a lot of effort to promote her. However, Qin Wanwan was different. From the moment she debuted, she was the company's focus on grooming her. As soon as she debuted, she released big news that she was the most beautiful woman without makeup and created a lot of hype. Qin Wanwan's expression froze. She turned around and watched Lin Che come down from the stage. Everyone crowded around her to congratulate her. Lin Che smiled and responded to them one by one. His hand holding the award was covered in sweat. It wasn't until she sat down that she regained her senses and said, why is it me? Jiyu Jingyu was amused by her expression and went up to pinch her face. Silly, it's you. It's you. The online voting. How would I know if you're asking why it's you? At the banquet after the award ceremony, everyone toasted each other. Lin Che didn't sit for long before he received a call from Jiyu Jingzi. Chapter 261. How is it? Is it over soon? Hearing Jiyu Jingzi's voice, Lin Che felt as if she had walked out of a dream and into the real world. His always calm and pleasant voice made people feel that it was so wonderful, as if no matter how bad the mood was, it could be pulled back into the spring breeze. She suddenly felt that she really missed him. She really wanted to see him. Lin Che said, yeah, it's almost over. I just finished work. Shall I go and pick you up? Yeah, sure, Lin Che said happily. Thinking that she would be able to see Jiyu Jingzi soon, a beautiful smile bloomed on her face. Seeing Lin Che smiling, Qin Wn walked over and said, what are you doing? I haven't congratulated you for winning the award. Let's go out and celebrate tonight. Lin Che smiled and said, no, I'll be leaving in a while. So soon? Who are you going to celebrate with? Qin Wn said as she glanced at Jiyu Jingyu, who was talking to someone. Lin Che said, it's not him. Anyway, I'm leaving now. You guys have fun. After saying that, Lin Che didn't say anything else and left directly. Qin Wn looked at her and thought it was strange. Why did she run so fast as if she was in a hurry to see someone? Jiyu Jingzi's car was parked by the roadside. Lin Che ran over and saw that Jiyu Jingzi had gotten out of the car quickly. He was still wearing the clothes he wore at work, a very formal suit, an orthodox suit, on his body, did not look old-fashioned, but more gentlemanly and elegant. The whole person looked really handsome. Lin Che realized that she really liked to see Jiyu Jingzi in formal wear. It made her feel like she was a fan of uniforms. Seeing Jiyu Jingzi, Lin Che immediately felt that she was already very lucky. She, who was so ordinary, was able to stand beside Jiyu Jingzi. Thinking about how many women lined up to see him, she felt that she was already very awesome. Running over, Lin Che said, aren't you busy today? Jiyu Jingzi looked at her clothes and smiled in amazement. He pulled her into the car with him. Did you win the award? He asked. Lin Che pouted. No, but it's already very rare to win the most popular female celebrity online. Why? Are you upset? Jiyu Jingzi looked at her and asked. Lin Che sighed and said, if I were to say that I'm unhappy and a little disappointed at this moment, would I seem very vulgar? Ha, do you still care if you are vulgar or not? Jiyu Jingzi said. Of course. It's too vulgar. The CEO doesn't like it. Jiyu Jingzi rolled his eyes. But thinking about it, he really didn't like vulgar women, but he couldn't hate her vulgarity. Lin Che lowered his head and said, it's nothing. It's just that I feel like my hopes have been dashed. Although I knew it was impossible from the start, I couldn't help but think that maybe there would be a miracle. Now that there's no miracle, I feel a little disappointed. Seeing that she was in a bad mood, Jiyu Jingze felt sorry for her. Although she only frowned a little, he already felt sorry for her. He didn't want any ripples in her life that would make her feel bad. He wanted to give her the greatest protection and let everything go smoothly for her. Although he knew it was impossible, he still felt unhappy because she was a little unhappy. In the past, she had never been so sensitive to Mo Hualing. But when it came to Lin Che, she was so nitpicky. Jiyu Jingze thought for a moment. It's normal. You'll feel fine in a few days. Alright, don't think so much. Anyway, we have time. Let's go shopping together. Shopping? There's nowhere else to go at this time. Let's see where you want to go. Lin Che thought for a moment. Can I go to the movies? Watch a movie? Jiyu Jingze felt that it was a very boring thing. But looking down at Lin Che, he saw a glimmer of anticipation in her eyes. He reluctantly agreed. Okay, I'll go with you. Wow, really? Lin Che didn't expect Jiyu Jingze to agree and cried out in surprise. Jiyu Jingze saw that she was so happy all of a sudden. Her smile was so sincere that it went straight to the bottom of his heart. He was finally a little more willing. This woman was like a piece of white paper. All her emotions were written on her face. She could be so happy about such a small thing. It really made people speechless. Jiyu Jingze said, "Go and change your clothes before I change my mind." She was still wearing an evening gown, so she couldn't go to the cinema. The two of them went to change and drove to the cinema. Although it was already midnight, the cinema was still quite crowded. Lin Che looked at the people coming and going, taking out surgical masks and caps to cover themselves. Jiyu Jingze was also dressed very low-key. Lin Che felt a little embarrassed at this moment. She looked up at Jiyu Jingze and said, "Jiyu Jingze, do you think I'm giving you trouble again? You definitely don't like to come to the cinema." Jiyu Jingze looked down at Lin Che. Although she was really troublesome, he was always persuaded by her. Thinking that she was the troublesome one, he didn't find it so hard to accept. In short, he just couldn't refuse her various requests. Even though his rationality told him that it wasn't good, he was still very willing to do it. "I really don't like to come here. Why don't we go back?" He deliberately looked up to tease her. No. Hubby, accompany me to the cinema." Husbands usually accompany their wives to the cinema. The stupid woman fell for it immediately and immediately held his hand and begged bitterly. He couldn't help but want to laugh, but he still kept a straight face. For a moment, he felt that the sound of her begging for her husband was really inexplicably enjoyable. He always wanted to hear her say it a few more times. Hubby, just think of it as experiencing life. If the big CEO doesn't walk among the people, how can he know what the people need? You have to go incognito sometimes. Do you know what everyone is doing? Really, it was a bunch of fallacies again. Jiyu Jingze said, "Okay, then let's go buy the tickets." Hearing this, Lin Che immediately went to choose the movie happily. "Which one do you think is good?" She looked at the list, worried. "Actually, I'm not very familiar with movies," he said. Lin Che said, "You really don't watch any movies at all?" "I like to watch some old movies, but I don't watch too many new ones. Do you think everyone is as free as you? I don't have much time to pay attention to these things. I haven't even watched old movies for 2 years." Lin Che looked up at Jiyu Jingze. For a moment, she felt that he was actually very pitiful. He was so tired. It was indeed not easy to be a big CEO. Lin Che wanted to choose again, but saw that there were already people looking over curiously. Chapter 262. Lin Che keenly sensed those curious gazes. For a moment, she was a little confused. She felt that she had disguised herself well enough. How could they still see through her? However, the next moment, she felt the source of those gazes. Jiyu Jingze. Jiyu Jingze stood tall. No matter how low-key he was, he still looked more glamorous than the ordinary people around him. As soon as they looked down, they would definitely look at him. So, it was useless for her to disguise herself. People would still notice something was wrong. Lin Che looked at the man with some resentment. Why was he so good-looking? Being too attractive was also a shortcoming. So, Lin Che didn't dare to waste time choosing so many. She quickly chose a random one and pulled Jiyu Jingze into the cinema. It was dark inside and no one would see anything. As they walked in, Jiyu Jingze looked at Lin Che. Seeing that the others were holding hands and snuggling up to her, he followed suit and held Lin Che's hand. Although he actually didn't like to have any intimate actions outside, he was used to holding Lin Che's hand. But now that he was holding Lin Che's hand, he felt that it was nothing. He just felt a little uneasy. However, he remembered that this was his wife. Even if anyone saw them holding hands, they couldn't say anything. So, he still held her hand and walked inside. The two candidates were in an American blockbuster movie. Lin Che held the popcorn in one hand and held Jiyu Jingze's hand with the other. The seat she chose was at the back. She had a lot of popcorn in her hand. Seeing that Jiyu Jingze was handsome, the salesgirl gave him a lot of things. Lin Che thought that this was really a good-looking world. Lin Che ate the popcorn and looked at Jiyu Jingze with a smile. Why? Have you never been to a cinema before? Seeing that Jiyu Jingze was looking around curiously, Lin Che asked. That's right. You know that we have a home theater at home. If you want to watch it, you can build one like this. Lin Che was speechless. That feels different. And it's much more comfortable than the chairs here. You don't understand, Jiyu Jingze. Look, only here can you feel something. It's so dark that you can't see anything. Hehe, when you're deep in love, you can feel something just by looking at it. You can directly kiss it and hug it. Jiyu Jingze tilted his head to look at her. Seeing her smirk, he suddenly understood that a kiss and a hug was not an ordinary kiss and a hug. After a kiss and a hug, we can go home, go to a hotel, go anywhere. What kind of feeling is that? One look and I can tell that you don't understand. It's more exciting to play dirty tricks in such a crowded place. As the saying goes, a wife is not as good as a concubine is not as good as stealing, and a concubine is not as good as stealing. That's why sneaking around feels exciting. Was this something a woman should say? Jiyu Jingze always felt that even though this woman was dirty, she had a bottom line. However, he gradually realized that she didn't have a bottom line. Jiyu Jingze said in a low voice, "So you like this kind of girl?" Lin Che hurriedly explained, "It's not that I like it. Get this straight, I'm just saying that other people like it. It's okay, I can understand if you have any special hobbies. If you want me to cooperate with you, I can cooperate with you." As he spoke, Lin Che felt his hand rubbing against her thigh. "What?" Lin Che shouted speechlessly. "Get lost, I didn't say that." As he said this, he quickly slapped his hand away. He chuckled silently. "I'm increasing your knowledge. Seriously, how do you fall in love? You're someone who has had a girlfriend before, but you don't even know this." "We don't watch movies," Jiyu Jingze said. "Then what do you do? Sit facing each other every day?" "Of course not. We watch operas, drink tea, listen to music, eat, and listen to concerts." Stop. I know, you guys are so bored. I really pity Miss Mo. Why did she meet a blockhead like him who didn't know anything? And most importantly, she hadn't asked for it. Jiyu Jingze was stunned. He thought about it carefully and realized that he really hadn't done anything worth remembering with Mo Hualing. Even though they had been together for so many years, when he thought about it, he couldn't remember what had happened with Mo Hualing. He looked at Lin Che and said calmly, "In the past, I really didn't think about falling in love properly, nor did I think about caring about other people's feelings. I will improve in this aspect in the future." Lin Che felt that Jiyu Jingze was holding his hand from below. He said calmly, "In the future, I will ask more about what you like." Lin Che's heart warmed. He looked up at Jiyu Jingze and said, "Actually, you don't have to. I didn't mean it that way." When Jiyu Jingze became serious, his expression was firm, almost like a promise. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. In the darkness, his eyes were like obsidian, so firm that no one dared to look him in the eye. Once they looked at him directly, it was as if they would be sucked into the whirlpool of his deep feelings. Jiyu Jingze felt that he had never paid attention to Mo Hualing when he was with her. He didn't pay attention to her emotions, and he didn't think that making her happy would make him happy too. He looked at her calmly and gently held her chin with one hand. In the dark, the light from above shone on their faces from time to time. His lips moved down, and the tip of his tongue circled around her lips. With a curve, it entered her mouth. His kisses were getting more and more nimble. He seemed to be familiar with all her sensitive spots. His fingers touched her body and explored until they reached the spot between her legs. She was really shocked by herself. How did she become such a love-struck idiot? However, when she felt the tip of his tongue withdraw, she still felt a sense of loss. Involuntarily, she parted her lips and took the initiative to find his full lips. The tip of his tongue seemed to feel her initiative, and in an instant, it swept down even more passionately. Her tongue was numb from his rough movements. However, she didn't feel uncomfortable at all. On the contrary, she wanted more. She felt that she was about to make a sound. Chapter 263. Oh no, she couldn't finish the movie. Lin Che panted softly and pushed Jiyu Jingze away. Jiyu Jingze said in a low voice, "Let's go. But the movie, if you keep watching, I'm going to eat you up right here." Lin Che was speechless. "Why are you so?" Jiyu Jingze said, "Ask me. Why don't you say it if you want it so much?" Lin Che blushed instantly. Jiyu Jingze said, "You're going to suck me in. How can I hold back?" Sure enough, they didn't stay in the cinema any longer. Jiyu Jingze pulled her back home. That night, he was really tired to death. When Jiyu Jingze lay down, he pointed at Lin Che's nose and said, "I'll be squeezed dry by you sooner or later." Lin Che wanted to cry but had no tears. What did it have to do with her? Jiyu Jingze said, "Go to sleep. Don't touch me anymore. Otherwise, neither of us can sleep tonight." He kissed her forehead and said, "I haven't slept for 2 days. If I serve you any longer, you'll be a widow." Hearing this, Lin Che looked at Jiyu Jingze worriedly. "How can this be? Why haven't you slept for 2 days?" "I was just busy," he said. Lin Che said quickly, "Then go to sleep. Don't talk anymore." She was very touched. Why didn't he tell her earlier if he hadn't slept for 2 days? She didn't want to go to the movies. This man was really putting on a brave front. Lin Che thought, it seems like being a tycoon really isn't easy. She sighed and looked at him. Seeing that he had fallen asleep from exhaustion not too long after lying there, she used her gaze to trace out the perfect curve of his body. Unable to resist, she lowered her head and gently kissed the tip of his nose. Maybe she was more than a little moved by him. The next day, the news of the Panda TV festival took up all the headlines in one night. From the red carpet, to the award ceremony, to the celebration party, there was a lot of news. The reporters caught a lot of information that others didn't. Mu Feiran was the one with the biggest headlines. She was named the Empress again. Whether it was her dress or her celebrity style, they were all amazing. However, to their surprise, Lin Che's page was the largest apart from Mu Feiran's. This was because, as soon as the reporters returned home, they received news that someone had recognized Lin Che's outfit from yesterday. Whether it was his clothes or jewelry, they were all sold at sky-high prices. Many of them couldn't be bought with money. Many celebrities were also secretly guessing who Lin Che was relying on. This outfit was a little too expensive. Just how powerful was the person behind her to be able to get such an outfit? Moreover, it was obvious that these brands were not sponsored by anyone. After all, everyone knew that these brands would never find sponsors. In other words, these brands were all bought by her. It could be seen that there should be a rich and powerful person behind her helping her. Of course, this was only one of the reasons. The other reason was that the reporters captured her interaction with Jiyu Jingyu at the scene. The intimacy between them made people's imaginations run wild. In addition, it seemed that she had a good relationship with Mu Feiran. Everyone couldn't help but envy Lin Che. They didn't know how powerful Lin Che was and how he could have such a good relationship with these big shots. After that, Someone even did a close-up of her expression when she found out that she was first in the voting. Her dumbfounded expression at that time was hilarious to death. This vivid performance made people even more fervent in their discussions. They felt that Lin Che was truly a silly and cute celebrity. He was so real that people liked him even more. With all these things piled up, her page was almost a full page. Compared to her expensive jewelry, it was worth mentioning. Qin Wanwan's big-name sponsors didn't seem worth mentioning anymore. They were just sponsors. Although they were big names and gods, they didn't look as good as Lin Che's jewelry and clothes. It was clear that you got what you paid for. Big names only sold their brands. The real good stuff was the nameless stuff of the nouveau riche. In the company, Lin Che was congratulated by the people. Although she only got first in the online voting, everyone felt that she was very impressive. The other artists in the company still sneered at her. It was a little embarrassing to be nominated but not win an award. However, they won an award and received a lot of publicity space. They knew that they were already the winners of this year's Panda TV festival. Yu Minmin said to Lin Che, "Keep working hard next time." Lin Che nodded. He knew that he still had a long way to go. He said, "Thank you for all these years, Sister Yu." Yu Minmin smiled and said, "To be honest, I really didn't think you would become popular back then." "Why? Was my talent that bad?" Lin Che said, speechless. Yu Minmin said, "You're too stupid. You're so silly and you're so stubborn. But perhaps good people will always be rewarded." Yang Lingxin was still following behind. When she saw the jewelry Lin Che was wearing, she also said, "That's right, Sister Yu. Also, Sister Che, you have Jiyu Jingza helping you so much. Sister Che, your jewelry looks really good. I didn't know they were so expensive." Lin Che said, "Maybe Jiyu Jingza just borrowed them." However, Yang Lingxin's eyes still sparkled when she saw the jewelry. Lin Che only felt that she was acting like this because she was a child and had never seen it before. He didn't say anything. Just then, a call came from home. Lin Che went to pick up the phone. Yu Minmin said, "All right, don't look at those reports anymore." Yang Lingxin said enviously, "Sister Che did a good job this time. It's so good to be a star. It's so glamorous." "That's because you didn't see how much hardship Lin Che suffered when he was a walk-on. Besides, not everyone can be as hardworking and lucky as Lin Che." "Yeah, Sister Che is so lucky," she said. Just then, Lin Che came back and said to Yu Minmin, "So it's Mr. President's birthday these few days." Hearing the words Mr. President, Yu Minmin's eyes flashed. Lin Che said, "The Jiyu family said they'll have a gathering too. It seems like Mr. President will be going back too." "Really?" Yu Minmin said, "Looks like you'll be busy again." Yu Minmin looked outside. It was Mr. President's birthday. Actually, people had already started talking about it. A few days ago, many of the president's fans had already started celebrating on their own. However, Jiyu Jingming had always kept a low profile and wouldn't hold a private birthday for no reason. However, the media in Country C had already started promoting it very quickly and also celebrated for Jiyu Jingming. Yu Minmin looked at it and put away the news. She said goodbye to Lin Che and said that she was going home. Lin Che said, "Sister Yu, do you want to go with us that day?" Yu Minmin quickly said, "No, I have something to do at home." Chapter 264. Lin Che said, "All right then. Actually, you can bring someone there. It's not going to be held at the GU residence this time, but at a resort outside. I think since it's the president's birthday, it should be quite fun. Sister Yu, if you have time, go and take a look." "Okay, I'll go if I have time." Yang Lingxin said enviously, "That's great. Sister Che is with Jiyu Jingza. The people around her are all big shots like Mr. President." Lin Che only smiled. "It's all right. Actually, I haven't interacted with outsiders much." However, he wasn't that familiar with Yang Lingxin, so he didn't want to invite her. After all, she was just a little girl. If she participated in this, she might not know anything and cause trouble. No matter what, Sister Yu was still more appropriate to judge the situation. The president's birthday was already in an uproar online. Although his birthday hadn't been announced to the public, the president's fans had already checked all the information on their own. Lin Che followed Jiyu Jingze and prepared to go to the prepared resort to attend the birthday banquet. The outside of the resort had already been fenced off. Inside, the huge resort was completely prepared for the Jiyu family. It took Lin Che the whole morning to dress up. The clothes that Jiyu Jingze had picked out for her were elegant, well-fitting, and brightly colored. Because she wasn't old, she naturally had a youthful aura about her. When Lin Che was brought in by Jiyu Jingze, he quickly saw Mu Wanqing standing there with a beautiful woman. The woman looked similar to Mu Wanqing and looked to be in her 20s. She stood there with a face that wasn't inferior to any celebrity. She had a certain temperament. Seeing Lin Che enter with Jiyu Jingze, Mu Wanqing quickly said, "Jingyan, this is the new sister-in-law I mentioned to you, Lin Che. Little Che, this is Jingze's sister, Jingyan. Because you haven't held a wedding, this is the first time you've met." So it was Jiyu Jingze's sister who had always been abroad. Jiyu Jingyan looked at Lin Che and said, "What should we do? Sister-in-law is younger than me. Second brother, you're much older than sister-in-law. Aren't you an old cow eating young grass?" Jiyu Jingze's face darkened when he heard this. Lin Che smiled shyly. Jiyu Jingyan said, "Sister-in-law, my second brother is so hard to please. It must have been hard on you." Lin Che smiled and said, "Forget it. I'm already used to it." Jiyu Jingze glared at Lin Che again. "How am I hard to please? When did I ever need you to serve me?" He raised an eyebrow. "When have I not served you?" Lin Che was probably the only one who could understand this pun. She went forward and pinched Jiyu Jingze. Her cheeks were slightly red. Jiyu Jingyan looked at them in surprise. "No way. Since when did brother Tingrui learn to joke with others?" "Mom, are my eyes deceiving me?" Mu Wanqing smiled until her eyes narrowed. "That's because your sister-in-law is asking for advice." Jiyu Jingze pulled a long face. He circled his fingers around his lips and coughed dryly. Mu Wanqing said, "They're husband and wife. If they want to joke, they can joke. What's there to joke about with you?" Jiyu Jingze said, "Yes. You're not funny at all. What's so funny about you?" Lin Che didn't realize it at first, but he suddenly realized that Jiyu Jingze was saying that he was funny. He turned around and said, "Who's funny?" "You're the funny one." Jiyu Jingze said, "Being funny is also one of your strengths. You should cherish the few strengths you have." "No, my biggest strength is that I have a good temper. I can tolerate you when you don't have any strengths." Jiyu Jingze snorted and flicked her on the forehead. On the other side, Jiyu Jingyan said, "Brother, you've really forgotten about your sister after getting married. You haven't seen me for a year, but instead of catching up with me, you're still flirting with sister-in-law." Although she said that, Jiyu Jingyan didn't look angry at all. Instead, she thought that the two of them were quite interesting. Jiyu Jingze said, "Yeah, you haven't been back for so long. Why did you come back?" Mu Wanqing answered, "Your sister brought her boyfriend back and said that she's going to marry him." "Really?" Jiyu Jingze said, "There's someone who wants you. Why are you so fierce?" Jiyu Jingyan said indignantly, "You have so many problems and you're sick. There's someone who wants you." Mu Wanqing was also very happy. She was finally married, so of course she was happy. Jiyu Jingze asked, "Where's madam? Why don't I see her?" Jiyu Jingyan's expression froze and she said, "She's not here yet. I'll go down and take a look." Outside, someone said that Mr. President was here. Jiyu Jingze said, "I'll introduce you later. I'll go and say hello to Big Brother first." With that said, he pulled Lin Che with one hand and the two of them walked over together. Jiyu Jingyan went out with her phone and found a number. She took a deep breath and dialed it. "Liu Beichen, are you here?" "Jingyan, something happened to me. I might have to wait for a while before I can go over again." "What happened to you?" Jiyu Jingyan asked curiously. "It's just a small matter. I'll go over after I'm done. I'll call you later." With that, Liu Beichen hung up the phone. Ji Jingyan held her phone, her expression frozen for a moment. She turned around and saw Mu Wanqing walking over. What's wrong, Jingyan? Ji Jingyan quickly regained her composure. Bei Chen said that he has something to do and will come over later. All right, men can be busy too. You should understand. He came all the way from abroad to accompany you. It's understandable that he didn't handle things well. However, I still remember that you guys were together in high school. But he wasn't your boyfriend at that time, was he? Ji Jingyan said, yes, we only established our relationship when we went abroad together. Sigh, I remember that he had a girlfriend at that time. Ji Jingyan's eyes flashed with some ripples. She held Mu Wanqing's arm. It's not like I didn't have boyfriends in the past. It's all in the past, isn't it? All right, I just vaguely remember that you guys had a good time in high school. It's been so many years since we last met, so I wanted to ask. Yes, she and Liu Beichen were good friends in high school. At that time, he had a girlfriend and she had a boyfriend. However, no one knew that she had feelings for him at that time. Later, he broke up with her and went to America to study at university. She also went to America with him. In the first year of their stay in America, they were still friends who occasionally contacted each other by phone. Until that year, when they went camping together in the same tent, they accidentally got into a fight. That was how they ended their relationship as friends and became lovers. Mu Wanqing remembered very clearly that he had a girlfriend in the past. However, she seemed to have forgotten that his girlfriend was Ji Jingyan's best friend, Fu Chenxi. On the other side, Ji Jingming's arrival caused everyone to gather at the door. Ji Jingming thanked them one by one and said embarrassedly, I've made everyone spend money to hold a birthday party for me. Ji Jingzi said, otherwise, Big Brother would be too busy. If I didn't find an excuse to invite you back, you wouldn't have come back. Chapter 265. Lin Che stood next to Ji Jingzi. He looked at Ji Jingming and said calmly, Brother, happy birthday. Actually, to Lin Che, calling him Big Brother was something that he really couldn't say out loud. Just like in the beginning, when she was with Ji Jingzi, she felt like she was floating in a dream. She always felt that it was too different from her real life, but it was indeed her real life. Ji Jingming smiled faintly and asked everyone to go in. Many people had come. This time, not only the Ji family had been invited, but some of Ji Jingming's politicians and his supporters had also been invited. Naturally, they were all rich and noble people. As Lin Che watched, he suddenly saw a man standing not far away, looking in Ji Jingzi's direction with a cold smile. Lin Che felt that the man looked familiar. He suddenly remembered that it was Li Mingyu, the man who was with Mo Hualing the other day. Why was he here? Ji Jingzi saw him. He narrowed his eyes and looked at him. Then, he pulled Lin Che up and said, let's go in. It was early spring and they had to put on their clothes before going out. Lin Che followed Ji Jingzi into the house and took off his coat. He asked the servant to take it away. At this moment, he heard Li Mingyu's frivolous voice. President Ji, what do you mean by leaving when you see me? Ji Jingzi turned around. I'm not avoiding you. I just have nothing to say to you. Li Mingyu looked at the beautiful Lin Che. He smiled and said, why? You have nothing to say to me. Or do you feel uncomfortable that the woman who knows you is by my side now? Ji Jingzi snorted and looked at Li Mingyu coldly. If you are talking about Hui Ling, then what she is doing now has nothing to do with me. If you two really want to be together, then be together. Li Mingyu didn't expect Ji Jingzi to say it so casually. Ha, you're pretending. I don't believe that you've forgotten your old lover so quickly. Please mind your manners. Don't you think it's rude to talk about your old lover in front of my wife? That's right. I don't care anymore because I'm a married man now. What happened in the past is already in the past. After he finished speaking, he held Lin Che's hand and resolutely turned around. Li Mingyu squinted. He couldn't believe it. Lin Che turned around and looked at him. Then he looked up at Ji Jingzi. He didn't care if Ji Jingzi said it on purpose or not, But Lin Che was still happy to see him so resolutely. Looking up at his indifferent expression, for the first time, he felt that he was really handsome when he was so emotionless. Just now, when Li Mingyu was scolded by him like that, he didn't have any room to refute. His expression was too instant. All the members of the Jiyu family were inside. Even though Jiyu Jingming had invited some people, he still spent more time with his own family. After Lin Che and Jiyu Jingze entered the room, Jiyu Jingyan also walked over and stood with Jiyu Jingze and Jiyu Jingze. At this time, Jiyu Jingyan said, "I don't know what gift to buy for my brother, so I bought him a tie. I hope he can find a wife soon. Then I won't have to buy him ties anymore." To Jing, Yang, Lin Jingyan to Chioshi Che, Yang to Jingyan to Si Che to said, Mo and Jiyu Chen. Lin Che said, "Yes, and he's very old-fashioned." Jiyu Jingyan said, Yes, he's very old-fashioned. "So how did you fall for him?" Lin Che thought to himself, "I did it first, then I looked at it. So, I put the cart before the horse. Who knew how I ended up becoming his wife? Well, I was forced to do this." Jiyu Jingze glared at Lin Che. Lin Che smiled and stuck out her tongue. Hearing Jiyu Jingyan mention a birthday present, she suddenly remembered that she had forgotten where she had put it. She looked in her pocket and didn't find it. She thought carefully and slapped her forehead. "Oh no, I left my present at the office yesterday." Jiyu Jingze looked at her speechlessly. "Look at how clumsy you are. What kind of IQ is that?" Lin Che glared at him and went out to call Yu Minmin, hoping that she could bring the present to him. Yu Minmin answered the phone and agreed helplessly. She was the only one who could open Lin Che's suitcase. Besides, it wasn't appropriate for others to come to the banquet, so she had to go herself. When Mo Hualing came in, she saw Li Mingyu and said, "What's the matter? You're only here to pick me up now." Li Mingyu snorted and said, "You're in such a hurry to see your old lover. Unfortunately, when I asked him just now, he said that he wished you and I the best." Mo Hualing's expression changed. She looked inside and said angrily, "I don't believe it. He won't." Li Mingyu said, "If you don't believe me, you can ask him yourself. But he's over there and everyone is a member of the Jiyu family. Do you dare to go over? Don't the Jiyu family hate you? When they chase you out, don't cry." Mo Hualing had gone through a lot of trouble to get Li Mingyu to bring her here. She naturally didn't want to be chased out so easily. She looked up and saw Lin Che and Jiyu Jingze sitting together with a few other people. Jiyu Jingze was holding Lin Che's shoulder with one hand as they talked. The two of them looked very close. Mo Hualing was so jealous that her eyes almost popped out of her head. Next to them, she saw that the annoying younger sister of the Jiyu family had also returned. When she was with Jiyu Jingze in the past, Jiyu Jingyan was always dissatisfied with her and always found fault with her. But now, Mo Hualing thought that her eyes weren't playing tricks on her. Why was Jiyu Jingyan still standing together with Lin Che? They were talking and laughing, but she didn't know what they were talking about. Mo Hualing gritted her teeth in anger. Seeing Lin Che standing in the middle of the Jiyu family, she couldn't help but think that that position used to belong to her. It should be her standing there and being envied by everyone. Lin Che and Jiyu Jingze didn't know that Mo Hualing's eyes were secretly staring at them from behind. Seeing that Lin Che hadn't eaten anything, Jiyu Jingze walked over and gave Lin Che something to eat. Lin Che said, "I wonder if Sister Yu is here." "All right, I'll send someone to pick her up later. Don't worry about that. It's okay even if she doesn't give me a gift. Big brother still owes me a few billion yuan. He won't care even if she doesn't give me a gift. Fut, he owes you so much money. Of course. Your husband is also a big investor in the national debt. Really? I admire you so much. Hubby is so amazing." She played along and pretended to be happy. "My sugar daddy is so amazing. I admire you so much. My sugar daddy, tell me quickly. I'll do whatever position you want when we get back. Don't abandon me." Jiyu Jingze's face darkened. Looking at Lin Che, who was finding it hard to be serious, he really didn't understand why he had married such a wife. But in terms of position, he smiled and suddenly moved closer to her face. You really know how to do any position? Lin Che was just joking. But looking at Jiyu Jingza's face suddenly moving closer, his eyes were shining with anticipation. For a moment, he was surrounded by a devilish aura. When he was naughty, it was hard to resist. No, I mean, then you'll be up there that night. Chapter 266. Get lost. I don't know how to do it. Hihi, I'll teach you. No. Lin Che felt shy. She didn't know how to take the initiative in this aspect. Jiyu Jingza couldn't stop laughing. Lin Che had done it many times, but every time she mentioned it, she was still as shy as a little girl. So he liked to tease her even more. No. You'll want it then. Jiyu Jingza said meaningfully. He blinked, his long eyelashes half covering his bright eyes. The light in them made Lin Che feel that he was really handsome. She almost felt like she was falling for him. But when she heard what he said, she quickly turned her head away. Get lost. Eat your food, okay? She picked up a ball of food and stuffed it into his mouth angrily. After he ate it, he remembered that she had taken it with her hand. But he just frowned and thought about it carefully. He didn't feel disgusted, so he just picked up the food and stuffed it into her mouth as revenge. Lin Che went up and bit his finger. Hey, are you a puppy? How dare you bite me? Her pearly white teeth lingered on his lips for a moment. She was really ruthless. Biting down on him was extremely painful, so he pulled his teeth back. Looking at the little bit of fragrance that was left on his lips, he smiled and licked it lightly. In the past, if he had such saliva, he would definitely have vomited it out of disgust. However, at this moment, there was actually a burning sensation that engulfed his entire body. Looking at Lin Che's exquisite little face that was dyed red, just like the night before a gust of wind, the red of the moon was so translucent, causing one to like it. He just wanted to press her there and be done with it. It was the first time he had such evil thoughts about a woman. Moreover, it was the first time he had such evil thoughts about a woman at any time. Seeing that Lin Che was avoiding his gaze, he smiled and reached out to wipe the thing off her lips. Look at how sloppy you are. Lin Che said, why are you so close to me when I'm sloppy? Don't you think it's dirty? Jiyu Jingza said, I did at first. Ha, I knew it. Jiyu Jingza looked at her. But I'm used to it now. Lin Che said gloomily, what do you mean you're used to it? What else can I do? Although you're so sloppy, I've already married you. No matter what, you're my wife. I can only accept it. Can't you have a proper conversation? Don't you think it's rare for a husband to be as honest as me? Lin Che said, yeah, that's why I'm the only one who can accept you. If it were anyone else, they would have been driven away by you long ago. Mph. Mo Hualing looked at them from afar. She saw Jiyu Jingza and Lin Che sitting together and chatting. The two of them were very close to each other. Jiyu Jingza was dressed in black, and she was dressed in white. Although they were of different colors, the two of them looked like a couple. Jiyu Jingza always liked to wear black. He was mysterious and low-key. He was so handsome that people couldn't take their eyes off him. But now, the person beside him was Lin Che. Mo Hualing felt her heart ache. She had accompanied Jiyu Jingza for so many years, but in the end, Lin Che had taken advantage of that little bitch. She saw Jiyu Jingza lowering his head to feed Lin Che. He even used his fingers to wipe the stuff from the corner of her mouth. He was taking care of Lin Che. The dignified Jiyu Jingza was taking care of Lin Che. All these years, she had never been taken care of by Jiyu Jingza like this. She couldn't even get close to him, let alone take care of him. Moreover, he was very antisocial and didn't like to be too close or too intimate. But now, the two of them were sitting there, unscrupulously loving each other. Mo Hualing was really jealous. Why did Jiyu Jingza treat Lin Che so well? Li Mingyu looked at Mo Hualing's angry face and smiled. All right, stop staring. They won't know. Let's go and drink some wine. Let's have a good time. Don't touch me, don't touch you. If Jiyu Jingza doesn't touch you, he will touch someone else. If I don't touch you, no one will touch you anymore. Stop looking. Let's go. Seeing him so happy, you're still so angry. Is it worth it? Mo Hualing knew it wasn't worth it, but she couldn't accept that Jiyu Jingza wasn't her anymore. He and Lin Che were getting closer and closer. If this went on, would Jiyu Jingza really fall in love with Lin Che? Mo Hualing was dragged away by Li Mingyu to one side to drink. On the other side, Yu Minmin arrived at the entrance. She looked around for a while, but couldn't find Lin Che. The resort had been surrounded and no one was allowed to enter. Yu Minmin looked around. She was still holding a gift in her hand. She picked up her phone and called Lin Che. But after calling one, the call didn't go through. Just as she was about to call the second one, someone next to her noticed her. Linda stood at the side and looked at Yu Minmin. She suddenly felt that she looked familiar. This woman, the president, her eyes lit up. She suddenly remembered that this person used to be with the president. As soon as Yu Minmin turned his head, he saw a woman in a neat black uniform standing in front of him. She was stunned. "Miss Yu, this way please." Yu Minmin hurriedly said, "I'm not here to cause trouble. I didn't mean to appear here. It's useless for you to tell me whether it was intentional or not. This way please." Yu Minmin still wanted to explain, but the president's bodyguards were already standing in front of her. Inside, Jiyu Jingza had been called away by Qin how to deal with official business. Lin Che looked at Jiyu Jingza's back and felt that he was really busy. Even when he was here to steal some free time, someone still came to look for him. Just then, Jiyu Jingyan walked over and said, "Sister-in-law, my brother left you behind again." Lin Che smiled and said, "Yeah, it's okay. I'm used to it." Looking at Jiyu Jingyan, Lin Che felt that if this family were to walk on the streets together, they would definitely dazzle everyone's eyes. Every single one of them was too beautiful. Jiyu Jingyan was the same. She looked prettier than most celebrities. This kind of beauty was different from the beauty of men like Jiyu Jingza. She was gorgeous and dazzling. She was the kind of beauty that would make people stunned at first glance. Jiyu Jingyan said, "Second brother is a little too busy. It can't be helped. The whole family's interests are all on his shoulders. It's lonely at the top. Moreover, second brother is a little too serious. He wants to do everything to the best of his ability. Naturally, he's even busier. Everyone in country C admires and fears this position. But they don't know that in order to sit in this position that everyone looks up to, the price he has to pay is also very high." Lin Che looked into the distance and felt his heart ache. He sighed and said, "Yeah, he's really busy, so I can only empathize with him." Jiyu Jingza, if it weren't for me, you would have been a good match too. Jiyu Jingza said, "Unfortunately, I'm already married, so I won't look back." "That's not true. If we get divorced one day, you can still find someone who's a good match," Lin Che said. Hearing that Lin Che was still thinking about divorce, Jiyu Jingza glared at him. "Don't talk nonsense," he said coldly. "What? What if I offend you one day and you want me to leave?" "That's possible. You offend me every day. When did I ever let you go?" Jiyu Jingza said. Lin Che looked at him. "You're very fierce to me every day. Who knows when you'll be too fierce? When have I ever been fierce to you?" "Of course you have. You've always been fierce to me. I still remember that in the beginning, you didn't even allow me to get close to you. You would insult me whenever there was a disagreement." Jiyu Jingza recalled the days when they first got together. It seemed that it was indeed like that. However, at that time, Jiyu Jingza really hated her. He hated her for destroying the stability of his life, so he asked her to force her into his life. But at that time, he never knew that one day he would get used to a different kind of life. He didn't hate her that way. He just felt that she always appeared in his life invisibly and he couldn't get rid of her no matter what. In the end, he felt helpless. "Fine, I apologize. I was indeed fierce to you during that period, but you didn't treat me very well." "Ha, You were so fierce to me. Can't I retaliate? But you should at least cooperate with my life. Not only did you not cooperate, but you also deliberately put on a sloppy appearance in front of me. Of course I can't stand it. But in the end, he accepted it. Not only did he accept it, but he also started to get used to it. Once he got used to it, he didn't feel so bad anymore. Yu Minmin was brought into a room that looked like an office. The soles of his feet were grey marble tiles, and in front of him were thick curtains that blocked the light of the day. There was only a bit of light that passed through faintly, casting a faint shadow on the ground. Yu Minmin was still trying to figure out where she was when she heard the sound of the door behind her. She pushed the door open and the person who came in was wearing custom-made leather shoes of an unknown brand. She turned around and was met with a pair of dark eyes. Mr. President. Yu Minmin's heart sank. Jiyu Jingming looked at the woman in front of him. She was looking at him cautiously. Her face was very small. She was not the type that would shock people at first glance. But her eyes were very bright. When she looked at people, people would have the illusion that they were seen through by her. He was overbearing. That's right, it gave off an overbearing feeling. Chapter 268. Jiyu Jingming was standing in front of her. Yu Minmin thought to herself. She was still in a trance. The problem that she thought had been solved once again appeared in front of her. He was different from how he looked on TV. He seemed very cold. I've already said that if you need money, I can give it to you. But please don't appear around here anymore. Why? Are you going back on your word? Yu Minmin looked up at him. You're mistaken. I'm here to give something to Lin Che. I didn't want to come here. Jiyu Jingming said, what is it? Her birthday present. She left it at the office. It's probably for you, she said seriously. She turned around to look for the present, but she couldn't find it. She was stunned for a moment before she remembered that she was afraid of losing it to Lin Che when she came in. She didn't know where she was going, so she quickly put it in the car. Jiyu Jingming saw that her hands were empty. It was obvious that there was nothing in them. He smiled coldly. Seems like you're not fully prepared. Yu Minmin looked at Jiyu Jingming. How do you want me to prove that I'm here with no purpose? Jiyu Jingming said, you're the one with the problem now. You have to prove it yourself. Otherwise, you'll have to stay here today. Why? Yu Minmin looked up and shouted, you don't have any evidence to prove that I'm here to get close to you, right? Jiyu Jingming said, but there are many people outside. I can't risk my life just because of evidence. So, I have to trouble you today. No. But I have something to do. Yu Minmin reached out to grab him. Jiyu Jingming lowered his head and looked at her hand coldly. Yu Minmin forgot that she had gone to grab the president. She quickly retreated and let go of his hand. Mr. President, I really didn't mean to get close to you. I've told the people around you many times that I didn't mean to, whether it's about that matter or, shut up. He frowned at the mention of that matter. He turned around. The cold room became even colder because of his gaze. Yu Minmin gritted her teeth. I'm really here to see Lin Che. If you have something to give to Lin Che, I'll find someone to give it to him. You have to stay here now. As he spoke, Jiyu Jingming walked out. Yu Minmin could only sit there and watch him leave speechlessly. Outside. Linda lowered her head and said to Jiyu Jing, Mr. President, what should we do now? Jiyu Jingming looked out of the window, thinking about what she looked like just now. Keep an eye on her. When it's over, let her go. Yes, Jiyu Jingming had never thought that he would see her again. However, she was Lin Che's manager. It was dangerous for her to be too close to him. Jiyu Jingza looked around but didn't see Jiyu Jingming. After a while, he saw Jiyu Jingming walk out of the room. He looked a little annoyed. Jiyu Jingza walked over. Big brother, what happened? Jiyu Jingming looked at him and shook his head. No. I just have some business to attend to. Jiyu Jingming turned around and looked inside. Yu Minmin was still locked inside. Seeing that Jiyu Jingza was talking to Jiyu Jingming, Lin Che grabbed his own food and walked to the side. When he reached the bottom, He forcefully pulled her over with one hand. Lin Che turned around and saw that Mo Hualing was there. She widened her eyes and saw that Mo Hualing was looking at her with a cold smile, full of hatred. Lin Che suddenly remembered that the Jiyu family was also here. If she were to make a scene here, it would look bad. Mo Hualing, no matter what you want to say, go and tell Jiyu Jingzi. It has nothing to do with me. Mo Hualing glared at her and was about to slap her. But Lin Che grabbed her hand and didn't let her slap her. Mo Hualing didn't expect her to be so fast. She wanted to slap her with her other hand, but Lin Che grabbed her again. He held her arms with both hands and looked at Mo Hualing. What do you want? Mo Hualing, everyone here is from the Jiyu family. If you continue to make a scene, it won't do anyone any good. Mo Hualing suddenly remembered. She snorted. Fine, if you continue to make a scene, it won't do you any good. You said that you and Jiyu Jingzi got married by contract, but you agreed to divorce before you got married. Does the Jiyu family know about this? Lin Che was stunned. He didn't expect Mo Hualing to bring up this issue. Jiyu Jingzi had told her about this before, so Lin Che could understand. But he didn't expect that she would bring it up now. Mo Hualing saw that she was indeed afraid. She snorted and said, "Aren't you very likable? When the Jiyu family finds out that you agreed to the contract marriage because of money, and that you were willing to get married even though you had no feelings for him, let's see if they still think that you're a prostitute." Lin Che was still in a daze when he saw Mo Hualing's expression suddenly change. She looked behind her with a crying face. Mo Hualing said pitifully, "Jingzi, look. Lin Che is treating me like this the moment he sees me." Jiyu Jingzi was here. Lin Che turned around. Jiyu Jingzi pushed Mo Hualing away without hesitation. Mo Hualing was pushed to the side. She staggered for a while before she steadied herself. They were quite a distance away, so no one could see them. Jiyu Jingzi glanced at the Jiyu family. Seeing that they couldn't see them, he looked at Mo Hualing with disgust and said, "What are you doing here?" Mo Hualing didn't expect him to push her away just like that. He stood beside Lin Che without saying a word. "You. She hit me. Aren't you going to say anything?" "That's enough, Hualing. She won't hit you. If you want to make a scene, leave this place and go back to your home. You can do whatever you want." Feeling that Jiyu Jingzi was on his side, Lin Che's heart skipped a beat. He raised his head and looked at Jiyu Jingzi. He didn't know what to feel, but he felt touched. Mo Hualing sneered at Jiyu Jingzi. "Jiyu Jingzi, you're so cruel." Jiyu Jingzi didn't trust her at all. He just wanted her to leave this place as soon as possible. "Who allowed you to come in?" Mo Hualing said. "As the young mistress of the Mo family, can't I come here? I'll give you some time now. Please leave this place," Jiyu Jingzi said coldly. How could Mo Hualing be willing to leave? "Ha, why should I? I'm not leaving." "You're not leaving? I don't want to embarrass you. Hualing, leave by yourself. Otherwise, I'll ask someone to take you away. You can make your choice now." "You." Mo Hualing looked at Jiyu Jingzi in disbelief. Was he so heartless towards her now? Mo Hualing said, "All right, if you dare to ask someone to take me away, I'll shout immediately. I want to ask the Jiyu family if they know that you and Lin Che are in a contract marriage. Do they know how Lin Che lied to them? Do they know that you only married Lin Che to deal with them? You've been acting all along." Chapter 269. Jiyu Jingzi's gaze froze. He felt Mo Hualing gritting her teeth. This was the first time he felt that this woman had such a fierce side to her. Even though he wasn't worried about how to explain it to his family, it would only cause unnecessary trouble if it blew up on this occasion. Especially those people's guesses and rumors, it wouldn't be good for Lin Che. Jiyu Jingzi said, "If you really fight head-on, it won't be good for anyone. Hualing, I advise you to stop now." "No, I won't stop." "Why should I stop? You're the one who betrayed me." "Jiyu Jingzi, you're so heartless." "Lin Che, he's so heartless. He can abandon so many years of feelings. The next person to be abandoned will be you." Jiyu Jingze raised his eyebrows. While Mo Hualing was still talking, he gave the person behind him a look. Before Mo Hualing could react, her mouth was covered forcefully. She was dragged out. She struggled, but in the end, she couldn't fight against the bodyguards. She was still dragged out just like that. Everything was silent. When they left, Jiyu Jingze heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Che said, "She's like this, don't worry about her. She's probably crazy. But, what if she really tells her family about this? I'll get someone to watch. I won't let her cause trouble at home. Besides, she doesn't dare to cause trouble." Lin Che nodded. Jiyu Jingze confirmed that Mo Hualing had been sent out before he brought Lin Che back. In the evening, there would continue to be a banquet here. Lin Che and Jiyu Jingze had already confirmed that they would stay in a villa in the resort. Although Lin Che felt that he had been playing all day, he was also extremely tired. Sitting there, he was already drowsy. Jiyu Jingze saw it at a glance and said to Mu Wanqing, "Mother, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first." Mu Wanqing looked at the sleepy Lin Che and agreed with a smile. Jiyu Jingze patted Lin Che and asked him to go in with him. Lin Che woke up from his sleepiness and left with Jiyu Jingze in a daze. Jiyu Jingyan watched the two of them leave and smiled at Mu Wanqing. "I didn't expect second brother to feel sorry for someone." Mu Wanqing said, "That's right. Seeing that he has these changes and is no longer as cold-blooded and heartless as he was in the past, I am relieved. Otherwise, I am really afraid that he will never have a good person in his life and will just muddle through it." Jiyu Jingyan said, "Yeah, and I think sister-in-law is a good person too. Yeah, I like it when I see it." Jiyu Jingyan said, "That's right. He looks very simple and pure." She was so pure that it was enviable. Mu Wanqing said, "Didn't you say that Liu Beichen would arrive soon? Where is he?" Jiyu Jingyan's expression changed. She turned her head and quickly changed the topic. Lin Che walked on the road, followed by a group of people. They were all waiting on him. Lin Che was used to it. Every time Jiyu Jing came out, he would make such a big fuss. At first, he was scared, but now he was not so surprised. Her footsteps were a little unstable, and she almost fell again. Fortunately, Jiyu Jingze was holding her arm and holding her steady. He looked at her with a frown and said, "Look at how stupid you are. Alas, what would you do without me?" Yeah, she was really stupid. What would she do without him? She didn't even dare to think about it. "It's just that my feet are a little numb after standing for a day. I'm not that stupid, okay?" Lin Che said. When Jiyu Jingze heard this, he immediately looked at her feet. "What's wrong? Are your feet numb?" "Yeah, just a little." "It's okay," Lin Che said. However, Jiyu Jingze still picked her up. "Hey, you, don't move. Come in with me," he said as he tiptoed to carry her light body towards the villa not far away. Very quickly, they entered the room. The people behind them had all left, so he asked the servants to rest as well. Only he and Lin Che were left in the huge room. Jiyu Jingze placed her on the sofa and let her sit down. Then, he squatted down and reached out to fiddle with her shoes. Seeing that he was actually going to take off her shoes, Lin Che quickly said, "No, they're so dirty. I've been wearing them for a day and I haven't taken them off." Jiyu Jingze looked up at her. "No wonder your feet are numb. Why didn't you take them off after wearing them for a day? Wait, let me see what's wrong. But aren't you afraid of athlete's foot?" She looked at him and murmured. Jiyu Jingze looked at her. "Do you have athlete's foot?" "Of course not," Lin Che said quickly. "Then it's fine," he said as he took off her shoes. Lin Che wanted to say that although she didn't have athlete's foot, it was still very dirty. However, Jiyu Jingze didn't seem to care. He took off her shoes and reached out to pinch her feet. Lin Che looked at him embarrassedly. "They're so dirty. Don't you dislike them?" Jiyu Jingze said, "Even if they're dirty, she's still my wife. As a husband, how can I dislike my wife?" Lin Che's heart instantly felt sweet as if she had eaten honey. Looking at Jiyu Jingze kneeling on one knee, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. What did she do to deserve such a man? No wonder Mo Hualing was so angry. She also felt that she was so ordinary. Lin Che said, "Miss Mo must be so angry today. You treated her like that. She asked for it. She went too far today," Jiyu Jingzi said. Jiyu Jingzi didn't want to mention Mo Hualing at all. He still couldn't understand why he had thought that Mo Hualing was elegant and beautiful. Was he wrong, or was he blind to fall in love with such a woman? He felt that he had never regretted anything, but this incident made him feel a little regretful. He regretted wasting so many years with Mo Hualing and even thinking about marrying her. However, Mo Hualing was such a woman. Therefore, Jiyu Jingzi only wanted to treat Lin Che better now. He didn't dislike Lin Che at all. Especially when he remembered that Lin Che had never disliked him, he felt that there was indeed no such thing as dislike between a husband and wife. At that time, when he vomited so badly, she didn't say anything. Now, she just took off her shoes. It didn't matter if they were a little dirty. Jiyu Jingzi and Lin Che came in and didn't plan to go out. Lin Che went to take a shower. Jiyu Jingzi sat outside and listened to the sound of the water. He thought about how he and Lin Che had been married for so long, but they had never been romantic. There was no wedding, no ring, nothing at all. Jiyu Jingzi blamed himself more and more. After thinking for a while, he picked up his phone and called someone. "Get 2 people to come over now and help me arrange some things." Inside the room, Lin Che finally felt less tired after taking a shower. He put on his pajamas and slowly walked out. However, as soon as he walked out, he saw flower petals on the bed and warm music echoing. However, he didn't see anyone. Chapter 270. Lin Che's hand, which was rubbing his hair, froze in shock as he listened to the gentle music. He was still in a daze when he felt a strong aura approaching him from behind. He abruptly turned his head and saw the man standing at the door. He was dressed very simply, a V-neck t-shirt, revealing a section of his beautiful collarbone, and a pair of cotton trousers. At this time, he had taken off the fierceness of his body, and at this time, he had a rare sense of warmth. Lin Che stared blankly at the man in front of him. All of a sudden, the man slowly walked over. His deep gaze looked into Lin Che's eyes. His eyes were like obsidian, like the Milky Way with a myriad of stars. There was a hint of a smile in his eyes, giving off an illusion of deep affection that lingered in one's chest. Jiyu Jingzi looked at her. He didn't know if it was deliberately prepared by Mu Wanqing, but this was still the honeymoon suite of the resort. The bed was a large round bed, facing the artificial lake outside. On the other side of the lake, there were still stars in the sky. Looking at it at night, it looked like a painting. Lin Che had never felt such a romantic feeling before. For a moment, she looked at Jiyu Jingzi and said in surprise, "What is this?" Jiyu Jingzi. Just now, she had only taken a bath for a few minutes, and he had already made so many things. Was he performing a magic trick? Jiyu Jingzi didn't say anything. He only used a pair of starry eyes to stare at her eyes without blinking. As if she understood what he was going to do, she felt a burst of heat in her heart. She lowered her head slightly, but secretly raised her eyes and looked at the man who was walking over from time to time. For a moment, her face turned even redder. She felt that just looking at him made her mouth and tongue dry. Looking at his faint red lips, she had the urge to take the initiative to pounce on him and bite him. Although his lips were thin, they were very full. They opened slightly, causing Lin Che to feel heat in her heart. Slowly walking towards Jiyu Jingzi, she said, You. Tonight, Jiyu Jingzi didn't want to be like usual and fall into madness with her. He slowly walked in front of her and gently lowered his head. His long fingers reached into her wet hair. She raised her head naturally and looked at him with a pair of shy eyes. Although he had always tried his best to make her feel that their marriage was wonderful and that it wasn't just for show, he also wanted her to feel that their marriage would bring her happiness and not a burden. However, because he had never interacted with a woman normally, he had no idea what a woman needed. He felt that their first time had been too careless. He had taken her so carelessly. She must have been in a lot of pain. A girl's wedding night should be beautiful, but she was in so much pain. After they got married, he had not touched her at all, so she did not have a good memory. So, this time, he slowly approached her and gently tapped on her lips. As he watched her open and close her eyes, he gently kissed her lips again. Lin Che moaned. She felt that his kiss was as gentle as music, so gentle that it made her want to sigh. He gently placed her on the bed and kissed every inch of her skin as if she was the most precious treasure in the world. Slowly and gently, it ignited every cell in her body. He was also a little nervous, a little uncomfortable, and a little difficult to endure. He was a little worried that she would feel uncomfortable. He was a little worried that what he was doing was right and whether it would make her happy. He really felt that he had become a young boy. It was as if it was his first time. He was actually so nervous to know how a woman felt. Lin Che held his hand. He greedily bit her fingers and licked her fingertips. Lin Che was really going crazy. Was this man crazy today? Her body involuntarily arched, as if she wanted to cater to his body. He separated her legs. Lin Che screamed, "Jiyu Jingza, what are you doing? What are you doing? I can't, it's okay. Don't move. Leave it to me tonight. No. No, you can't. You're so dirty, don't move. Be good. Let me see, sob. I really can't." Lin Che really felt very embarrassed. However, she was already in a confused state of mind, so she did not have any strength left. At this moment, after being teased by him, her whole body became soft. She did not have any strength to resist. She collapsed under his extreme gentleness. He liked to see her in such a confused state of mind for him. He liked to see her so comfortable. Every expression of hers seemed to be encouraging him, making him feel that it was all worth it. In an instant, he had an impulse to give up the whole world for a little smile from her. Even though he was in so much pain that he felt like he was about to explode, he only hugged her tightly when she was completely relaxed. That night, Lin Che really felt something that he had never felt before. He felt especially satisfied and natural. Although she clearly didn't move at all, he was still very tired. The two of them hugged tightly and fell asleep after a while. Mo Hualing was quietly taken out of the house. When she was outside, she did not expect that Jiyu Jingza would treat her like this. She quickly called Li Mingyu. Li Mingyu came to pick Mo Hualing up. Seeing Mo Hualing's disheveled face, he smiled and sent her back to the Mo family home. When they entered her room, she was so angry that she smashed the things in the room. Li Mingyu did not want to leave before he got what he wanted. Seeing that she was angry, he hugged her. Mo Hualing was shocked and quickly tried to push Li Mingyu away. Li Mingyu hugged her and did not let go. He looked at her and said, "That's enough. You are still a virgin for Jiyu Jingza. Come on, it's just a game. This kind of thing is comfortable for both of us. Why are you so resistant?" Mo Hualing said, "Phut, my first time is reserved for Jiyu Jingza. Why should I waste it on a playboy like you? You have so many women outside. I think you are dirty." Li Mingyu was stunned. He looked at Mo Hualing in disbelief. "No way. First time? Who are you trying to fool?" Mo Hualing said, "Why would I lie to you? Humph, do you think everyone is like you? Haven't you been with Jiyu Jingza for many years? But Jingza is a gentleman. He would not do anything to me." Mo Hualing did not mention Jiyu Jingza's problem. This was a secret of the Jiyu family. She had never thought of telling Li Mingyu. Li Mingyu snorted and said, "Then you don't understand men. If a man has feelings for a woman, it's definitely because of his body. He's been with you for so many years, but he hasn't even touched you once. Are you sure he really loved you?" Chapter 271. Mo Hualing was flustered by his words. Mo Hualing rolled her eyes. Of course, she wouldn't admit that Jiyu Jingza had never loved her. No, Jiyu Jingza must have loved her. If he didn't love her, he wouldn't have only been with her for so many years. He hadn't had any contact with another woman since he was young. Jiyu Jingza wasn't the kind of person she thought he was. Not every man was like that. "Humph, you're lying to me. I won't believe you." Li Mingyu snorted. Anyway, if a man and a woman can talk to each other under the blanket, it means that he doesn't have any feelings for her. It's just like you and me. You see, I'm always thinking about how to get on top of you. Does this mean that I like you? Get lost. Do you think everyone is as perverted as you? Mo Hualing wouldn't believe him anyway. Li Mingyu said, yes, I'm so perverted because I like you. Otherwise, you should just give up. I think that Lin Che does look like a little vixen. I'm afraid that Jiyu Jingze won't come back for you. When Mo Hualing heard that he actually thought that Lin Che was good-looking, Mo Hualing immediately flared up. You, Li Mingyu, get out of here. Sigh, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that, okay? A wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. He quickly changed his words and hugged Mo Hualing. You're the prettiest. Lin Che looks like a little vixen. You're the lady from a rich family. How can a little girl like Lin Che compare to you? Mo Hualing stared at Li Mingyu. I won't let Lin Che live a good life. Jiyu Jingze is mine and he still loves me. He's just temporarily bewitched by Lin Che. One day, he'll know how good I am. Before that, you have to help me. Why should I help you? What a joke. I want you to break up with him, Li Mingyu said. Mo Hualing said, I promise you, as long as you help me get Jiyu Jingze, I'll sleep with you. Otherwise, don't even think about getting me. Humph. Li Mingyu turned and looked at Mo Hualing. Really? You're not lying to me, right? Why would I lie to you? I've kept my first time for so long just to give it to Jiyu Jingze. Since you've fulfilled my wish, I'll fulfill it for you. It's also because of this barrier that I can't have sex with others. But I've kept it for so long, and I'm not willing to lose it just like that. So, you have to help me get what I want, so that I can give you what you want, right? Indeed, Li Mingyu didn't care whether she was loyal or not. Hearing her say this, she smiled and said, okay, I'll help you. Tell me, how do you want me to help? I've been with Jiyu Jingze for so long. He loves me like crazy. Of course, he doesn't keep any secrets from me. I know a lot of secrets about the Jiyu family. What secret? The Jiyu family stored the sperm in the sperm bank for Jiyu Jingze so that he wouldn't lose his offspring because of an accident. If you help me get it, when I become pregnant with Jiyu Jingze's child, the Jiyu family will definitely not let their offspring wander outside. Then, Jiyu Jingze will have to divorce Lin Che and be with me. Mo Hualing knew that Jiyu Jingze kept the sperm, but it wasn't the Jiyu family who kept it for him. It was because Jiyu Jingze wanted to be with her. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to touch her, so he purposely kept the sperm. He hoped that after they got married, they could have a child through artificial insemination. That way, the Jiyu family wouldn't make things difficult for her. Jiyu Jingze loved her so much, but Li Mingyu still thought that Jiyu Jingze didn't love her. Humph, what did he know? Jiyu Jingze was such a good man. It was only because he had that problem that he couldn't touch her. Otherwise, he would have been hers long ago instead of that little bitch Lin Che's. How could he really love that little bitch Lin Che? Li Mingyu said, Jiyu Jingze actually kept the sperm? Really? Alright then, I'll help you. But remember, you must serve me well. He yearned to be able to get Jiyu Jingze's woman. If Mo Hualing married Jiyu Jingze and he told Jiyu Jingze that he had already slept with Mo Hualing, wouldn't Jiyu Jingze be furious? By then, Jiyu Jingze would get what he deserved for what he had done to the Li family. Li Mingyu would never forget how Jiyu Jingze had used his influence to suppress the Li family after they had fallen out. It was never too late for a gentleman to take his revenge. Jiyu Jingze, just you wait and see. Early in the morning, Lin Che was woken up by the sun. When she woke up, she realized that the man beside her had already woken up. She was stunned. She turned around and saw Jiyu Jingze looking at Lin Che with his head tilted. He was lying on his side. His well-defined muscles were stretched out, and he was only half covered with a blanket. His appearance really made her blood boil. She thought she was going to have a nosebleed. However, she seemed to have noticed that Jiyu Jingze was looking at her carefully. Lin Che reached out to cover her face and looked at Jiyu Jingze through the gaps between her fingers. Why do you keep looking at me? You're so small. How do you have so much power? You're so restless when you sleep. You keep tossing and turning. Lin Che blushed. She looked at Jiyu Jingzi and said, Did I disturb your sleep? Jiyu Jingzi said, forget it. I'm used to it. Why don't we not sleep together in the future? I can't control myself. I don't know what I'm doing when I fall asleep. You sleep so late every night. If you can't sleep well, won't it be terrible? Jiyu Jingzi frowned. How can a married couple sleep separately after such a short period of time after getting married? But, it's okay. I heard that sports can help you sleep better. Let's do more nighttime exercises tomorrow. You'll sweat more before bed, and you'll sleep better at night. He supported his head with one hand and whispered in her ear. What bedtime exercises? Hadn't they done enough last night? She really felt that it was enough. Get lost. I still have to work. You'll kill me if you sleep so late every night. She originally thought that he should be a person with few desires, but she didn't expect him to be so energetic. Every day, he would torment her to death. It was the same last night. She was clearly asleep, but he would suddenly climb into her body in the middle of the night. Jiyu Jingzi said, Is it my fault? You seduced me for no reason. Lin Che protested and pouted. Who seduced you? Who threw themselves on top of me when I was sleeping? He said. Lin Che was speechless. When I was asleep, I kept pouncing on you. Could it be that when someone pounces on you, you get excited? That's really strange. When you were with Mo Hualing for so many years, how did you endure it? Don't tell me that your kidneys are weak. Chapter 272. Jiyu Jingzi was stunned and looked at Lin Che. Lin Che felt a little regretful for bringing up Mo Hualing at this time. However, Jiyu Jingzi thought about it seriously and said to Lin Che, Actually, when I was with Hualing, I never thought about doing anything with her. I even felt weird when I held her hand. The closest we could get to each other was a kiss, and I could count the number of times we kissed. She was the one who initiated most of the time, but every time, I would have a bad episode. Jiyu Jingzi said strangely, I don't think I had any feelings for her, nor did I want to do anything with her. When I was with her, I always thought that even if I didn't touch her for the rest of my life, it would be fine, and I wouldn't want to have her. Lin Che looked at Jiyu Jingzi and said, You mean, you don't have that kind of feeling for her? That's right, I'm also very strange, but I just don't have that kind of feeling. Lin Che thought about how he and Mo Hualing had been together for so many years, but the closest they could get to each other was holding hands and kissing. He felt much better. Jiyu Jingzi said, But, I don't know why, every time I see you, I want to strip you naked as soon as possible. I don't want to waste any time, I just want you. Lin Che said, Hey, that's your own problem. Who told you to be so perverted? One is marked by the company one keeps. I've never been like this before, but after I got together with you, I became so perverted, so it's all your fault. As Jiyu Jingzi said this, he looked at Lin Che hugging the blanket. His neck was obviously crooked, and there were still some marks on her body from last night. Jiyu Jingzi immediately felt something again. He hugged her and pressed her down again. Lin Che hurriedly begged, No, Jiyu Jingzi, what are you doing? Let go of me, I still have work to do. You're the one who stirred up the fire, so you should be the one to extinguish it. I really can't, Jiyu Jingzi. It's so early in the morning, you've done it so many times at night. Haven't you had enough? Jiyu Jingzi thought it was strange, but he couldn't help himself when he saw her, as if his body was no longer under his control. How many years had it been since he had done it? Was there something wrong with him? How could he be so impulsive? Not enough. I don't think I can. Little thing, I think that one day, I'll die because of you. One day, I'll be squeezed dry, and it'll definitely be because of you. He said fiercely. He thought strangely in his heart, she's obviously the annoying type. Why did she find trouble for me again and again? Just like that, I was tempted by this little thing. Lin Che was instantly pressed down by him. Although the man was very handsome, he really had something to do. Lin Che hurriedly said, Ouch, ouch. You're hurting me. Jiyu Jingze looked at her suspiciously. He knew that he didn't use any strength, but when he heard her scream in pain, he stopped. Let me see. Where does it hurt? Sorry, I'll be more careful next time. Seeing this, Lin Che hurriedly escaped from the bed. I still have work to do. I can't explain myself if I get up so late. Humph. It was still that dark room. Yu Minmin was locked up here for a whole night. Only then did he feel the door open. She was half asleep. When she heard the sound, she hurriedly stood up. Jiyu Jingming walked in and saw Yu Minmin standing up. Yu Minmin's clothes were wrinkled, but he was still looking at him cautiously. He walked in. He didn't expect that after a night, she still looked so stubborn. Tell me, what's your motive? He said. After a night of confinement, Yu Minmin felt very weak. Naturally, she was also very angry. Looking at Jiyu Jingming, she thought that others would probably think that it was a great honor to be able to meet the dignified Mr. President face to face. Now, she only felt that this was the most unlucky thing that she had ever encountered in her life. Her good life was constantly disturbed by him like this, and she was always treated as a spy and had bad intentions. She really wished that she had never met this man who was high above her. Yu Minmin bit her lower lip and raised her head to look at Jiyu Jingming. That's enough, Mr. President. That's right, I approached you with bad intentions. All right, I have an ulterior motive. I want to shake the high and mighty Mr. President's position. That's why I approached you and sacrificed my first time to let myself fall into such a situation. I'm just here to give you something, but I have to be locked up here for a whole night and be humiliated by you. Jiyu Jingming's expression changed. Yu Minmin glared at Jiyu Jingming. That's right, we are all insignificant people. Our safety is not as important as Mr. President's. I was born in the slums. I have a gambling father, a weak mother, and a younger brother who needs to be taken care of. I can't compare to them. I'm respected by thousands of people. Every move I make can affect the progress of the whole country. I'm not that important, but I'm still a human being. You casually suspect me and lock me up without any evidence. Yu Minmin looked at the closed door and knew that there were people outside. She looked at Jiyu Jingming and said, "Let me out." Jiyu Jingming's thin lips were tightly shut. He stood there in silence. Yu Minmin glared at him and walked out without a care for anything else. Although she was insignificant, she was also a person with a temper. Although she was insignificant, she could not be bullied like this. Jiyu Jingming frowned and turned around to grab Yu Minmin's hand. Yu Minmin was infuriated. He raised his hand and slapped Jiyu Jingming's face. Slap. Jiyu Jingming and Yu Minmin stood there in shock. Yu Minmin was stunned. She looked at Jiyu Jingming and found it hard to imagine what she had just done. She had slapped the president of Country C, the beloved president of Country C. There was a line of red marks on Jiyu Jingming's pale face. This woman, Jiyu Jingming, grabbed Yu Minmin by the arm. Yu Minmin's collar was pulled up and she stood on her toes. Let go of me. At this moment, the people outside seemed to have heard some movement. A row of the president's bodyguards with guns pushed open the door and rushed in. Yu Minmin was shocked. She looked at the black holes of real bullets and thought to herself, she had slapped the president. Even if these people had shot her now, they must have had a reason to do so. But Jiyu Jingming's cold face turned around. His expression changed slightly and he shouted angrily at the people in front of him, "Who let you in?" The people who came in looked at Yu Minmin and the president in a daze. What was the president doing? He was personally holding a woman. What did he mean? And the president's face. Chapter 273. Mr. President, Mr. President, get lost. Jiyu Jingming let go of Yu Minmin. Yu Minmin fell to the ground and looked at Jiyu Jingming. She regretted what she did just now, especially when she saw the red mark on Jiyu Jingming's face. But she was really angry, so she didn't care. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I won't appear in front of you again. I hope we can mind our own business. Then, she looked at Jiyu Jingming with fear. She turned around and walked out under the guard's surprised gaze. Jiyu Jingming's eyes moved and he came back to his senses. Linda was leaning towards one side. Sir, this matter, Jiyu Jingming turned around and said, get someone to watch her and report to me if anything happens. Yes. Sir. Linda saw the red mark on Jiyu Jingming's face and quickly left. That woman just now. She was really bold. If she was really a spy, then she was really betting her life on this game. Otherwise, if the president charged her with the crime of attacking the head of state, she would be thrown into prison. Lin Che went straight to the company from the Jiyu mansion. Yu Minmin had taken a day off and didn't come. Lin Che quickly called Yu Minmin and told her that she didn't go to the Jiyu mansion's banquet yesterday and didn't come today either. Yu Minmin said that she was fine and that she had something to do at home. She also said that she was sorry for what happened yesterday. Lin Che knew that she had a lot of things to do at home, so he left her alone to deal with it. Then, Lin Che went to see his grandmother, so he brought young Lingshan to the villa. However, when he arrived at the villa, he found that his grandmother was not there. Lin Che pulled the servant and asked, "Where is my grandmother?" I don't know." Old Madam suddenly said that she wanted to go to the Lin mansion to ask about her daughter, so, the Lin mansion. Lin Che felt very uneasy. He quickly called a car and rushed to the Lin mansion. The car quickly arrived at the Lin mansion. He saw Han Kaiying yelling at her grandmother at the door, "Your daughter is a vixen. How dare you come to my house to seek justice? Let me tell you, I've already done my best by giving birth to her daughter. Whether she dies or not has nothing to do with us. Yet, you still dare to come to me. I want to ask what kind of daughter you raised, to actually want to be someone else's mistress." Lin Yotsai pulled Han Kaiying away and looked at his grandmother. He frowned and said, "All right, she is already dead. Don't talk about this anymore." Grandma was still standing there in disbelief. "No, my daughter wouldn't do that. I know my own daughter. She must have a reason. She must have been deceived by you. Now, I want to know how my daughter disappeared. You can't not give me an explanation. You can't. You." Lin Che ran to her. "You." When they turned around and saw that Lin Che had come over, they were all stunned. Lin Che quickly shielded his grandma behind him and looked at the people in front of him fiercely. Han Kaiying, Lin Li, Lin Yotsai, and Lin Yu were behind them. It was rare to see all of them here. "What are you doing? Is it fun to bully an old lady?" Lin Che said sternly. Han Kaiying laughed and said, "Lin Che, get this straight. Who's bullying who? She asked for it herself, not us. Moreover, everything I said is the truth. Your mother is a mistress. We raised you, but you're just like your mother. Not only did you not show filial piety to us, you even went against us at every turn. Auntie, my mother is not a mistress. My father knows this better than anyone else." She looked at Lin Yotsai. "Tell me. My mother is not a mistress. She doesn't know that you have a family. Am I right?" Lin Yotsai stuttered. He looked at Han Kaiying and didn't dare to say anything. "Lin Che, it's been so many years. Don't talk about it anymore," Han Kaiying said. "Lin Che, I haven't settled the score with you for being ungrateful. How dare you let your grandmother come to our house?" Lin Li and Qin Qing broke off their engagement. She said that this has nothing to do with you. Lin Che looked at Han Kaiying, amused. "This has nothing to do with me. How can Lin Li blame me for her own love affairs? Ha, you've been in love with Qin Qing for so many years. Do you think no one doesn't know? If it weren't for your schemes, would Qin Qing have left Lin Li? Mph, you're seducing Qin Qing on the one hand and being a mistress on the other. Really, what kind of mother makes a daughter?" Lin Che's expression changed. "I've never interfered with Qin Qing and Lin Li's relationship. My own love life has nothing to do with you." Han Kaiying sneered and said to her grandmother, "You don't know yet. Your granddaughter is just like your daughter. She's a sugar daddy and a mistress. She's willing to do anything to get famous." Grandma raised her head, a little confused. Lin Che said, "Grandma, I'll explain to you later." Han Kaiying snorted. "Explain? You don't have anything else to explain. Behind them, young Lingshan was still following them. She didn't know what was going on and just stared at them blankly. Lin Li had been feeling depressed for a long time. She couldn't help but be robbed of her limelight. She had entered the entertainment industry first, but now, Lin Che was the more popular one. She was still a supporting character while Lin Che was already the main lead. Lin Li said, "Lin Che, aren't you qualified to play the leading role now? That's enough. Just forget it. Don't hook up with Jiyu Jingze anymore. He'll marry a woman who matches his family background sooner or later. What's the point of doing that? You're a disgrace to our Lin family." Lin Che looked at Lin Li. "What does that have to do with you?" Lin Li snorted. "What? Are you afraid that you can't continue to be popular without Jiyu Jingze? Then you should rely on your own ability. What's the point of relying on a man?" Lin Li didn't think she could become popular on her own. Without Jiyu Jingze, how could she become so popular? Impossible. Humph. She was just a follower in the past, and now she dared to participate in the Panda TV festival. Thinking about it, Lin Li was furious. "What nonsense are you talking about? Jingze is Lin Che's husband," Grandma said angrily. She couldn't stand people slandering Lin Che. The Lin family looked at each other and burst into laughter. "That's enough. Who do you think Jiyu Jingze is? Old thing, Lin Che was lying to you. How could you believe him?" "Humph." Grandma still said firmly, "I believe my granddaughter, and I also believe my daughter. They're both good people. They wouldn't do such a thing. You're the ones who are rotten to the core. If you can't give my daughter a proper explanation, I won't let you off." The Lin family laughed even louder. "Old madam, you're just an old lady from the countryside. How dare you fight with the Lin family?" Chapter 274. At this moment, a row of cars suddenly drove into the high-end residential area. The few of them were stunned. Lin Che was standing with his grandmother and young Lingshan. On the other side, it was the Lin family and the servants of the Lin family. A car slowly stopped in front of them. Then, the bodyguards of the Jiyu family got out of the car one by one. Finally, the bodyguard opened the car door. The handsome man appeared beside the car like a moon surrounded by stars. His expression was as cold and arrogant as ever. He was so arrogant that no one could ignore him. Jiyu Jingze was supposed to be in the company, but why did he suddenly come here? Lin Che's eyes lit up. Seeing Jiyu Jingze, he walked over. The Lin family's faces changed. Young Lingshan said hurriedly, "President Jiyu, you're here." She walked over but was stopped by the bodyguards. Young Lingshan could only stand outside and say, "Sister Che." Jiyu Jingze pursed his lips. Looking at the scene, he walked over to Lin Che. Lin Che looked up and said, "Jiyu Jingze." Jiyu Jingze just nodded at her, then looked at the people opposite him. Han Kaiying looked at the bodyguards. Although she knew that the Jiyu family was powerful, she didn't expect so many bodyguards to be here. She felt a little guilty. Lin Yotsai took a step forward and his eyes lit up. Behind him, Lin Li trembled slightly. She looked at Lin Che angrily and jealously. Lin Yu ran away in fear. She didn't dare to look at Jiyu Jingze anymore. Although Han Kaiying was a little afraid, she couldn't control her anger. "President Jiyu, why didn't you control Lin Che? She came here to stir up trouble. What's the meaning of this? We didn't offend her." Jiyu Jingze snorted and looked at the person in front of him. "My woman can do whatever she wants. Why should I control her? You." Han Kaiying didn't expect Jiyu Jingze to be so protective of Lin Che. Lin Yotsai said hurriedly, Yes, we didn't control her. But since she's here, she's still my daughter. President Jiyu, do you want to come in?" Han Kaiying looked at Lin Yotsai's good-for-nothing appearance and felt extremely angry. She lifted her foot and stepped on Lin Yotsai's foot. It was not the time for Jiyu Jingze to insult Lin Yu. Thinking of that, Han Kaiying felt even angrier. She said directly, "Really? Your woman can do whatever she wants. Do you know that Lin Che is flirting with Qin Qing? Now, he's trying to sow discord between Qin Qing and Lin Li. You don't care about anything else, but you don't care about this. Lin Che's eyes flickered. Do you have any basis for your words? What? Are you afraid that Jiyu Jingze and I will expose you? Han Kaiying snorted. Han Kaiying thought that Lin Che was afraid, so she became even more enthusiastic. President Jiyu, Lin Che has had feelings for Qin Qing since she was young. She's always been sneaky about it. Don't think that she's as innocent as she appears to be. You've been deceived. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiyu Jingze narrowed his eyes and the look in his eyes changed. The person behind her immediately waved his hand and hit Han Kaiying's face. It was so fast that no one could react in time. It was Jiyu Jingze's man who hit Han Kaiying, so naturally, it was very ruthless. Han Kaiying's mouth immediately started bleeding. She grimaced in pain and raised her head to look at the people in front of her in disbelief. You hit me. As soon as she finished speaking, the next slap landed on her face. The right side of Han Kaiying's face swelled up quickly. She couldn't believe it and burst into tears. Lin Yotsai's eyes moved. He immediately judged the situation and held Han Kaiying back. Jiyu Jingze looked at the woman in front of him indifferently. Apologized to Lin Che. Han Kaiying held back her tears. How could she be willing to do that? Why should I apologize? You've slandered Lin Che. Chapter 275. Jiyu Jingze just glanced at them and didn't even bother to look at them. Lin Che didn't expect his father to be so decisive. Lin Li looked at Han Kaiying and thought that her father was just trying to scare her. However, Lin Che was still unhappy that Lin Yotsai was so humble in front of Lin Che. He retreated to the side and looked at Han Kaiying's shocked face. Then, he looked at Lin Yotsai and said angrily, You, I don't want a divorce. I've worked for your family for so many years and now you want to get rid of me. I don't want a divorce. Lin Yotsai was also in a dilemma. He looked at Han Kaiying and said to the servants behind him, What are you looking at? Go and pack up this bitch's things and throw them away. The servants were so scared that they went in to pack up. Han Kaiying was really scared this time. She rushed over and begged. Lin Yotsai pushed Han Kaiying away and said to Lin Li, What are you looking at? Take your mother away and pack up. Lin Li didn't dare to hesitate. She quickly helped Han Kaiying up and pulled her away. Han Kaiying looked back with every step but still didn't dare to act rashly. Lin Yotsai hurriedly said to Jiyu Jingze after they left, President Jiyu, please don't mind her. That woman's mouth is too dirty. I didn't mean it that way. Lin Che is my daughter. I'll treat her well no matter what. I've tolerated her because she's my wife after all. This time, she's gone too far. I definitely won't let her off. Jiyu Jingze didn't care about what he said. He just looked in front of him expressionlessly. I don't want to interfere in your family affairs. Even if she comes back to your family in a few days, it's no big deal to me. Although he said that, he didn't dare to say anything when he heard Jiyu Jingze's cold tone. He said hurriedly, Impossible. I said I'll kick her out and I'll kick her out. From now on, this bitch has nothing to do with the Lin family. Jiyu Jingze ignored him and said to Lin Che and his grandmother, What do you want? Lin Yotsai heard that and quickly answered, Oh yeah, I want to know the cause of Lin Che's mother's death. I still have the information about her hospitalization. Lin Yotsai hurriedly asked someone to find the materials. Soon, a servant brought out a box. Grandma looked at it and took it with trembling hands. She quickly opened the box. Lin Yotsai sighed and said, Lin Che's mother is gentle and virtuous, courageous and virtuous. She's a good woman. It's just that the heavens are jealous of her beauty. When she gave birth to Lin Che, her body was already broken. After that, she struggled to hold on for more than 10 years. In the end, she couldn't hold on any longer. Indeed, Lin Che still remembered that his mother had been in poor health all those years ago. Coupled with the fact that she had been ostracized by the Lin family, it was even more impossible for her to recuperate well. Although it was too late to investigate what had happened back then, it was still a comfort to be able to get this information and know the cause of her death. Jiyu Jingze took one last look at Lin Yozai. Lin Yozai bowed and sent him off with Lin Che and his grandmother. Yang Lingxin watched from behind and hurriedly followed them. Seeing that Jiyu Jingze had brought a row of bodyguards who were all dressed in black, she was amazed by their professionalism. She looked at them for a while and hurriedly followed them. But of course, she couldn't get into Jiyu Jingze's car. She got into another car and left with them. Seeing that the group of people had left, Lin Yozai finally let out a sigh of relief. When they entered the house, Han Kaiying was still throwing a tantrum. "I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Lin Yozai, I've been with you for so many years. You can't treat me like this just because you're afraid. Who is Jiyu Jingze? He's just rich. Why are you so afraid of him?" Lin Li also looked at Lin Yozai and said, "Dad, isn't it too much to chase Mom away? Why did you let Lin Che be so proud of himself?" Humph. Lin Yozai looked at the mother and daughter. He pointed at them and said, "How dare you say that? I've told you to grow some brains in the past, but you just didn't listen. How can our family be compared to Jiyu Jingze?" Lin Yozai looked at the mother and daughter. Han Kaiying said, "That little bitch Lin Che is just a mistress of Jiyu Jingze's. Sooner or later, she'll get tired of him. Why are you so afraid? Sooner or later, Jiyu Jingze will marry a woman of equal status. No matter what happens in the future, right now, Jiyu Jingze is her backer. Don't all of you know how ruthless Jiyu Jingze is? Do you really think he's a good person? How dare you say that? I don't believe that no one can deal with him. With his influence, no one can deal with him. Then we." Han Kaiying looked at Lin Yozai and said. Lin Yozai said, "Since you said you want a divorce, sign the divorce agreement." He didn't dare to lie to Jiyu Jingze. "What? Why? I won't sign it. I won't sign it even if I die." Lin Yozai snorted. "You won't sign it? If you don't sign it, do you want to sleep on the streets when the Lin family has nothing? You're Lin Li's mother now, so you can live with money. When the Lin family is gone, you'll be a beggar who picks up trash." Han Kaiying sat there dejectedly, sobbing. In her heart, she really hated Lin Che to death. Jiyu Jingze brought Lin Che and Grandma back to Grandma's villa. Grandma heard from Lin Che about the illness in the documents and knew that her mother's health was indeed too poor. In addition, the medical standards at that time weren't good, so she couldn't drag it on any longer. Grandma nodded and sighed. It's her fate. Forget it. Luckily, she's relieved to see that you're living a good life now. Grandma said that they had stayed here long enough and was ready to go back. Naturally, Lin Che couldn't bear to leave. Grandma said that when she had time, she would go and play there. Although it wasn't a big city with everything, it was beautiful and fresh. Lin Che remembered that Jiyu Jingze had said that he would find someone to take care of his grandmother. Besides, his grandmother didn't know anyone here except for him. No matter how good B City was, she would definitely feel bored. So, he agreed and arranged a plane for her. Jiyu Jingze sent people to take care of these things while Yang Lingxin stayed by his side to take care of Grandma. Yang Lingxin looked at Lin Che and said, "President Jiyu is so handsome today." When he went over, those people became listless. Lin Che said, "Yeah. I didn't expect my dad to want a divorce. I don't know why he's so afraid of Jiyu Jingze. President Jiyu treats Sister Che well, so of course you're not afraid of him. Everyone else is afraid of him." Ah. Lin Che thought that she wasn't afraid of him when he wasn't good to her in the past. Thinking about it, he was bold enough. Chapter 276. Perhaps others were too afraid of him, which was why they thought he was scary. But they didn't know that Jiyu Jingze was actually a very principled and considerate person. Regardless of what others thought of Jiyu Jingze, Lin Che felt that Jiyu Jingze wasn't that scary. He was such an upright person. How could he be a bad person? Yang Lingxin said obediently, "I'll go and see if Grandma needs anything." Lin Che was pleased that Yang Lingxin was so hardworking. Actually, he wasn't afraid of being poor. As long as he was willing to work hard, he would be rewarded. Young Lingshan went to collect her grandmother's clothes and make soup, but she was still thinking about what had happened at the Lins yesterday. It turned out that Lin Che's family wasn't that good after all. It turned out that her mother was a mistress and she was an illegitimate daughter. It turned out that her family was also so troublesome. Moreover, her identity was so complicated, her family was so bad, and her family wasn't clean. Jiyu Jingze was done. When he came back, he saw Lin Che watching TV. Grandma was old and went to bed early. Young Lingshan was watching TV with Lin Che. Seeing Jiyu Jingze come back, young Lingshan stood up first. Jiyu Jingze walked over and looked at Lin Che. He smiled and patted her shoulder. Lin Che looked up. "How is it? Have you booked the plane tickets? I've arranged for our family's plane to go over. It's better for an old lady like her not to take the crowded plane." Lin Che thanked him for his consideration and said, "Thank you for specially arranging for the Jiyu family's private plane to send my grandmother." "Silly, your grandmother is my grandmother too. But I still have to trouble you. I really feel grateful. Behave yourself when you're around me." He pinched her nose. Lin Che wrinkled his nose. "How am I dishonest? You're not obedient anywhere. You only become more obedient when you're in bed. Go to hell." Lin Che reached out to pinch his flesh. Jiyu Jingze hissed in pain. "How dare you hit me and say that you're honest? I haven't hit you for 3 days and you're already tearing the roof tiles? Who told you to act like a hooligan every day? Ha, this means that I'm full of energy. When the day comes that I don't have the energy to act like a hooligan with you, you won't even be able to find a place to cry." Lin Che thought, who knows if that day will come? When that time comes, maybe he'll already be tired of her body, and his illness will be cured, and he'll directly divorce her. Lin Che wanted to pinch him again, but Jiyu Jingze had already wrapped his arms around her body. Then, he realized that someone was watching them. Lin Che looked up and saw young Lingshan still standing there. She quickly pushed Jiyu Jingze away, signaling him to behave. Jiyu Jingze looked back and stood up in disappointment. He said to Lin Che, "Let Grandma rest. Let's go home." "All right," Lin Che said. Seeing that young Lingshan was still behind, Lin Che said, "It's getting late. Let's send you back." Young Lingshan said, "You guys go back first. I think there's still a subway." "Forget it, it's not safe for a girl to take the subway so late at night. We'll send you back. It's not far anyway," Lin Che said. Hearing this, young Lingshan looked at Jiyu Jingze awkwardly. Jiyu Jingze nodded. "Then let's go together." Young Lingshan smiled. "Thank you, President Jiyu. Thank you, Sister Che." Lin Che and Jiyu Jingze sat in the back while young Lingshan sat in the front. Soon, the two of them sent young Lingshan back to a very old neighborhood. Young Lingshan said, "This is my home. It's too old and run down. Don't let President Gu's car in. I'll go in myself. I'll damage the car if I go in." Lin Che saw that it was a little small inside. If the car went in, it would be difficult to get out, so he nodded. "All right then." Young Lingshan said goodbye to the two of them, jumped out of the car, and skipped into the neighborhood. Watching her leave, Jiyu Jingze said, "Is she your assistant now?" Lin Che nodded. "Yeah, she's very agile. Sister Yu said that although she's young, she's much more agile than the other assistants. She can handle many things on her own. She's someone worth nurturing." Jiyu Jingze just looked inside and nodded. "Why isn't Yu Minmin with you today?" "She has something to attend to at home, so she took the day off." "Yeah, it's better to spend more time with Yu Minmin. Don't get too close to other people." Okay. Lin Che thought, is there something wrong with other people? But it was true that she didn't interact much with other people. She only told some things to Yu Minmin. She trusted Yu Minmin quite a bit. Lin Che said, "Do you think my dad will really divorce Auntie?" "What's wrong with divorce?" "Nothing. I just don't think it's possible." "Don't worry, he won't dare to not divorce her." "Why?" Jiyu Jingze looked at Lin Che. "It's hard to understand with your IQ. Forget it, Don't think about it anymore. Lin Che just couldn't understand why they were so afraid of him. Jiyu Jingze knew that Lin Che didn't know what the name Jiyu Jingze meant in the eyes of outsiders in Country C. He didn't want her to know either. That way, he would only be Jiyu Jingze in front of her. The only problem he had with her was that he had a bad temper, was a germaphobe, and was a man who had a lot of things to do. Perhaps it was also because he had always been Jiyu Jingze in front of her, so she would never know what kind of person he was in other people's eyes, or what kind of terrifying things he had done in the outside world. Jiyu Jingze said, "All right, let's talk when we get home." "Okay, let's go home." The news that Lin Che and Jiyu Jingyu were going to shoot a movie together spread quickly. Jiyu Jingyu's movie was about to start shooting, so naturally, there was a press conference. Jiyu Jingyu attended it personally and the list of actors was announced on the spot. This fantasy movie was called Celestial Captors. The main actors were Jiyu Jingyu, Lin Che, Shin Xiaoyuan, and the little freshmeat Li Junyi. Some of the other actors were also very famous. Lin Che didn't expect Shin Xiaoyuan to be in the movie too. Although she had been popular for many years, she wasn't as famous as Mu Feiran, but she was still very popular and had countless fans. Lin Che was acting with her, and he was even going to be the female lead. Lin Che was still a little afraid. He was worried that Shin Xiaoyuan would be unhappy and cause trouble. Yu Minmin comforted Lin Che and said, "Don't worry. The reason why you are the first female lead is because the director thinks that your temperament is more suitable. The company asked her to audition for the role of the second female lead right from the start. She's going to play the role of an older sister with Li Junyi, and you're going to play the role of an older sister with Jiyu Jingyu. The roles of the two of you are different." What can she say? If she's angry, tell her to look for the director. In order to promote the movie, the producer of the movie recommended a few of the main actors to participate in a reality show together. Jiyu Jingyu naturally wouldn't participate in a reality show. He didn't need to participate in a reality show to maintain his popularity. Wherever Jiyu Jingze was, there was no need for publicity. Therefore, it was the other main actors who would participate in the reality show. The reality show was called I Want to Go to School. The main actors would go deep into a high school in B City to experience student life. They would be staying and studying in this high school. The show would be filmed for a week, which meant that they would be living in the school for a week. Chapter 277. The last time Lin Che participated in a reality show, she was only a guest. This was her first time participating in the recording of a reality show. At the GU residence, Lin Che's suitcase had been packed and placed in the living room. Jiyu Jingze looked at Lin Che and said, "Be careful. If anything happens, remember to call me." Lin Che nodded. She was a little nervous when she thought about how she was going to stay there for a week, especially since she was going to film a show with so many people. She was afraid that she wouldn't perform well. After all, she was still inexperienced when it came to filming. "Have you packed everything?" he asked as he looked at the suitcase. "Yeah, the servants helped me prepare it. With the staff taking care of me, there shouldn't be a problem," Lin Che said. Jiyu Jingze caressed her palm and looked at her little face. "Be obedient in school and don't get too close to men. Remember, you have a husband." "What? I'm a woman. I've promised you that I won't have another man when I'm with you." "I won't have another man." She still remembered that their agreement was very clear. During their marriage, she wouldn't do anything to embarrass him, and she definitely wouldn't have any contact with other men. Moreover, after being by Jiyu Jingze's side for so long, there really wasn't any man who could make her heart flutter. When she looked at them, she felt that every man looked very childish and ugly. They weren't as pleasing to the eye as Jiyu Jingze. Hearing Lin Che say that she wouldn't have any contact with other men when they were together, Jiyu Jingze's eyebrows moved slightly. Lin Che said, "Okay, I'm leaving. We're still in B City anyway. Don't worry. Nothing will happen." Jiyu Jingze said, "Who knows if a troublemaker like you will really be fine. As long as she left his sight, he would feel that something was going to happen to her." He also felt that he was being a little wishy-washy, but he couldn't help but worry about her safety. Who asked this little woman to get into trouble so easily? She was careless and careless. If he hadn't asked people to keep an eye on her, who knew how many things would have happened to her? She turned her head and thought about how she couldn't see him for a week. She felt a little sad. She gazed deeply at Jiyu Jingza's tall and handsome face. She stared hard at him and waved her hand reluctantly. At this moment, her hand was suddenly grabbed by Jiyu Jingza. She sat on his lap, and before she could react, his lips had already landed on hers. Prying open her lips, he pushed his way in, biting her lips passionately and licking them forcefully. Lin Che sat on top of him, her body moving restlessly. However, as she rubbed against him, she felt the texture of his thighs, and her cheeks turned even redder. It was hard for them to part, but they had no choice but to part. He let go of her lips and pinched her cheeks as he looked at her delicate face. "Without me by your side, you'd better behave yourself. If you can't help it, I'll make it up to you when I come back. But you're not allowed to flirt with other men." Who couldn't hold it in, Lin Che pushed his chest. "Do you think everyone is as perverted as you?" Jiyu Jingza smiled and said, "I've fed you every day. If you sleep alone for the next few days, you might miss me badly. Get lost. I have my own principles, okay? That's because you haven't experienced it before. Now that I've developed it, do you think you won't miss me? You're the one who wants to. Anyway, call me when you miss me." Lin Che blushed. She stood up, grabbed her suitcase and walked out. "Who's missing you?" "Tumph, I won't miss you." Jiyu Jingza stood there and shook his head helplessly as he watched Lin Che's fleeing figure. This little girl made him worry. He still couldn't stop worrying when he thought about how there were a few other actors in the crew who were going to stay with them. This woman, she didn't know how attractive she was. She was like a magnet, slowly attracting men's gazes. Even Jiyu Jingyu, who had been ascetic for many years, admired her. It was obvious how attractive she was. Jiyu Jingza took a deep breath and became more and more worried. It was the best high school in B City. The school was famous for its freedom and was famous overseas. The school was big and the scenery was beautiful. It was also a place that people always praised. It was school time and the school was bustling with people. The filming crew was already waiting outside. When Lin Che came in with his suitcase, the camera behind him had already followed. As soon as he entered the school gate, he felt a group of students surrounding him. They shouted, "Lin Che, Lin Che. Lin Che, I like you so much. Lin Che, I've watched all your TV shows. Lin Che, I'm your fan." The staff quickly pushed them away. Lin Che smiled at them embarrassedly and said, "Don't worry, students. We're going to be classmates for the next few days. We can talk about our admiration later." Everyone laughed and watched as Lin Che went in to register. "Hello, I'm Lin Che." "Oh, Lin Che, go to the second year, class 3. Lin Che carried the suitcase and went through the procedures. Other than the reality show producers, there were also staff from Lin Che's own company following behind him. To avoid trouble, they must be watching the whole filming process from behind. A group of people followed Lin Che inside. Their imposing manner caused people to raise their eyebrows. Some students exclaimed from behind, "Wow, is that Lin Che? Yeah, he's a big star. He's so awesome. There are so many people following him. I want to be a star too." Forget it. There are so many people who want to be stars, but there are only a few who become famous. Don't you see how good-looking Lin Che is? Just then, someone exclaimed, "Wow, look, Xin Xiaoyuan is here too." Compared to Lin Che, Xin Xiaoyuan's presence was much bigger. There were probably more than a dozen people following behind her. Together, they entered the school in a grandiose manner. She looked straight ahead, ignoring the shouts of the fans and students beside her. She just walked into the school wearing sunglasses. In the dormitory, Yang Lingxin was arranged to help Lin Che pack his things. Yang Lingxin said, "Seriously, why do we have to film a reality show first when we're filming a movie?" Lin Che said, "This is also a publicity method. There's a lot of publicity in the early, middle, and later stages. We should cooperate as much as we can. Oh right, that Shin Xiaoyuan just now, she brought a lot of people. Sister Yu even said to let me do it myself. I arrived early, so we'll let little Dao and the others come along to help Sister Che pack up. Lin Che said, I can actually do it myself. It's just that Sister Yu is worried. It's not like I've never stayed in school before. Chapter 278. Isn't that so? Sister Che is a celebrity now. Of course it's different from the past. Look at how imposing Shin Xiaoyuan is. Hearing Yang Lingxin's words, Lin Che raised his head and said to her, Little Shin, celebrities aren't special people. They don't care about their aura. I didn't become a celebrity for the sake of my aura either. I just want to stand out and earn my own living. I also want to be admired and liked by others. However, whether or not I have an aura isn't important. These auras are all for others to see. I just need to act cool once in a while to make others envious. Being followed by so many people every day is also very annoying. Hearing Lin Che say this, Yang Lingxin looked at him with wide eyes and smiled. I know, Sister Che. I was wrong. I shouldn't have thought that way. There's nothing wrong about it. I'm not reprimanding you. I'm just telling you that this is what I think. I know. I just can't stand to see Shin Xiaoyuan being followed by so many people. At this moment, they heard a commotion outside. Not long after, they saw Shin Xiaoyuan coming in. A group of people followed her in. The small dormitory suddenly became crowded. It was especially annoying. Lin Che pulled Yang Lingxin to sit down first. After Shin Xiaoyuan tidied up the place, some of her assistants left. There was finally some space. Shin Xiaoyuan raised her head and saw Lin Che's seat. She paused for a moment, then stood up and looked in Lin Che's direction. I want this bed, she said to the director. The director was stunned. He looked at Lin Che inside and said to Shin Xiaoyuan, Xiaoyuan, this bed has already been booked. It's not good for you to suddenly change it, Shin Xiaoyuan said, the sunlight is good there. I want it there. The director looked at the two of them awkwardly, not knowing what to do. Shin Xiaoyuan saw that the director was still looking at the two of them with fear and hesitation. She sneered, Director, do you know how many years I've been in this industry? This is the first time I've participated in this kind of program. The production team promised to take good care of me. I only participated in this kind of program because of Director Fan. But what do you mean now? You won't even change your seat for me? Shin Xiaoyuan was a person who was not easy to please. She was also well known in the circle, but because of her status, no one dared to say anything about her. Shin Xiaoyuan looked at Lin Che. Lin Che moved and looked at Shin Xiaoyuan. How could he not know that she was deliberately going against him? Ever since the two of them became enemies during the last annual staff ceremony, she had always been going against him. However, they had never met face to face. But, this time, they were filming a show together. So, naturally, she would not let him off the hook. Shin Xiaoyuan raised her eyes. Without Jiyu Jingyu to support her, Shin Xiaoyuan wanted to see what else Lin Che wanted to do. Lin Che raised his head and looked at Shin Xiaoyuan. Sister Xiaoyuan, the cameras have already filmed our beds. Won't the audience find it strange that you suddenly changed positions? Shin Xiaoyuan laughed and said, Do you have any common sense? This can be reduced later on. They can do it again. There are many ways. Lin Che still sat there and did not move. It's very hard for the staff to film. It's not good to trouble them. Lin Che, don't pretend that you're understanding and I'm not. I'm the one being filmed. Of course, my mood is important. If I'm in a bad mood, the effect of the filming will be bad. Can you bear that? I've been in this circle for many years. I know a lot more than you, who just came out a few days ago. You don't have to show off your ignorance in front of me. Lin Che narrowed his eyes and looked at Shin Xiaoyuan. Since Sister Xiaoyuan said so, then as the person being filmed, my mood is also very important. If the position was changed, my mood would be bad too. Isn't this what Sister Xiaoyuan just taught me? I've learned a lot, Lin Che said as he raised his eyebrows. Lin Che, who do you think you are? How dare you talk back to me here? Your mood. Do you really think that your mood is very important? PH, just because you're able to participate in the filming of Capturing Fairy, you think that your status is on the same level as mine? Relying on your relationship with Jiyu Jingyu to enter the crew, you still dare to put on airs in front of me. When the director saw that the two of them had just arrived, they actually started arguing. He was so depressed that he did not know what to do. Both of you, calm down. Lin Che, otherwise you, director, although I'm still a newcomer and it's a traditional virtue to respect the elderly, I don't want to change this position. She had just arrived and she was already being bullied by Xin Xiaoyuan. If she took a step back today, who knew how far she would be bullied in the future? Hence, Lin Che knew that he definitely could not give in today. Otherwise, there would be no filming for the next 7 days. The director did not expect Lin Che to be so bold. He dared to argue with Xin Xiaoyuan and even insulted her. He did not know what to do for a moment. You! Lin Che, how dare you? Lin Che raised his head. What's wrong? What does Sister Xiaoyuan want? Is it just a moment of anger and you can't take it anymore and want to quit the reality show? Xin Xiaoyuan choked. She was able to join the film because she had auditioned. It was not easy to get into Jiyu Jingyu's movie. If it wasn't for her suitable image, acting skills, and audience, she would not have been chosen. Among the other competitors, there were other suitable candidates. It was just that she arrived first and caught the director's eye first. How could she give up the role that she had worked so hard to get? The reality show was to build momentum for the movie. If she did not participate in the reality show, how could she film the movie? She glared at Lin Che and stood up angrily. The expression on her face was distorted, and she snorted at Lin Che. Fine, just you wait, Lin Che. With that, she opened the door and walked out. Yang Lingshan looked at this scene, then looked at Lin Che. Sister Che, Lin Che took a deep breath and said to Yang Lingshan, it's okay. She can't bear to quit. You go first, I'm going to start filming. Yang Lingshan said, is it bad to offend her? She has such a strong aura. I'm afraid that she will make things difficult for Sister Che. She looks very powerful. Lin Che said, forget it. We'll deal with it as it comes. Yang Lingshan said, puzzled, Sister Che, President Jiyu is actually so rich and spoils you so much. You might as well not do this and get bullied. Lin Che said, spoils me? How do you think he spoils me? Although we are very close now, it's not what you think. Of course, President Jiyu is so good to you. Yes, he is very good to me, but a woman still has to have her own career. Who knows what will happen in the future, right? You can't put all your hopes on a man, understand? Chapter 279. Yang Lingshan said, Sister Che, you're amazing. If I had such a good husband like Jiyu Jingza, I wouldn't think about anything else. Silly girl, when you really have such a husband, you'll think even more. The reality show soon began. Li Junyi and a few other boys who didn't participate in the movie were already waiting outside. Compared to them, the boys' side was much more harmonious. Everyone was smiling happily, looking at the girls around them and discussing something. After a while, Xin Xiaoyuan walked out. The reality show required everyone to wear school uniforms. The autumn and winter school uniforms were larger. Country CS school uniforms had always been said to be ugly, but when worn by these super good-looking celebrities, they didn't feel ugly at all. Instead, they felt like they had some star aura. Xin Xiaoyuan's blue school uniform with a row of white horizontal stripes looked very beautiful, causing the little girls and boys outside to exclaim in unison. Li Junyi and the others also looked at her and hurriedly complimented her politely. Their voices of appreciation made Shin Xiaoyuan feel elated, and she couldn't hide the happiness on her face. Shin Xiaoyuan had deliberately made 2 braids, which made her look a lot younger. She touched her face, which had no wrinkles at all. She had just secretly gone abroad to get some medicine and spent a lot of money. At this time, her face was not inferior to that of the high school students around her. It was good to have money. Eternal youth was something that needed to be pasted with money. At this moment, Li Junyi called out from behind, "Lin Che is here." The few of them also raised their heads. They saw that Lin Che was wearing the same school uniform as Shin Xiaoyuan. His thin body, wearing this loose school uniform, made him look even younger. His ponytail swayed back and forth, like a ball of sunshine, full of youthfulness. Compared to Shin Xiaoyuan's thick foundation, she only applied a little sunscreen makeup on her face. Her face was like a peeled egg, full of collagen. Her bright smile revealed 2 rows of white teeth. Her red lips and white teeth were even more pleasing to the eye. She really didn't put on any makeup at all. In comparison, Shin Xiaoyuan was very scheming to put on makeup. It looked light on the outside, but in fact, it took a lot of effort to make it look extremely natural. Lin Che smiled as he walked over. His beautiful big eyes, when he squinted, they were clear and somewhat enchanting. His small face and slender neck seemed even more slender in his baggy clothes. His entire person was so beautiful that one couldn't take their eyes off him. He was so refined. Several boys looked at her, their eyes have revealed their thoughts in an instant, one by one. They all think she is really beautiful, even in this colorful entertainment circle, she is absolutely unique beauty. Shin Xiaoyuan's face instantly darkened. She looked back at the few people, but their eyes were no longer on her. Even though there was another actor who was not very famous, they did not look at him at all. They just kept staring at Lin Che. She cursed in her heart, "Damn it, she's really a little vixen, she's really scheming." Usually, everyone dressed differently, so it was hard to distinguish one person's beauty. Now, everyone was wearing the same school uniform, and under the same clothes, different faces, which highlighted Lin Che's difference. On the same day, the media that followed to report this show revealed the shooting information of that day. In the shooting, the school gate was full of fans that day, and the school also seemed very excited because of the participation of several stars. In the shooting, the school uniforms of Lin Che and several female stars were exposed, and there was immediately a lot of praise on the internet. They all said that Lin Che's clothes really looked like that of a high school student, and it was definitely a pure school uniform that could instantly beat any beauty, tofu, or milk tea girl. Such a beauty, in high school, must be the school belle. However, in fact, only Lin Che knew that in high school, she was not the school belle, because after all, she was poor and didn't have time to tidy herself up. Compared with those rich young ladies who were escorted by nannies every day, such as Lin Li, she could be said to be extremely unknown. Therefore, when Lin Li saw the news, she was so angry that she wanted to smash something, thinking that what school belle? More like a joke. Seeing that Lin Che was still so active on the TV, while the family was in a mess, Han Kaiying was forced to move back to her mother's house, and the neighbors outside were pointing at their family. She felt very indignant. The shooting in the school was very lively, and it was extremely noisy. Finally, it was lunchtime. Lin Che, Li Junyi, and another little girl went inside, and the students immediately surrounded them, shouting outside, "Lin Che, give us an autograph." "Lin Che, do you have a seat here?" "Lin Che, what do you want to eat? We can help you get food." Seeing Lin Che sitting next to her, someone quickly said excitedly, "Lin Che, wow, 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 I finally see you in real life. Lin Che, you look so good in real life. Me, can I take a picture with you?" Lin Che laughed and said, Sure. Let me see if my hair is messed up first. I haven't touched up my makeup for a day." Seeing that Lin Che was taking a picture with someone, the other students behind him suddenly went crazy and immediately surrounded him. However, Shin Xiaoyuan walked in from the other side. She looked at them with disdain, but she still pretended to be friendly. In fact, There were a few assistants behind the camera, not allowing these students to get too close. Seeing that Lin Che was here, she directly walked over and took Lin Che's seat to sit down. Lin Che raised his head and looked at Shin Xiaoyuan. She took advantage of the crowd and sat down with her own cutlery to eat. She even snorted and said to the assistant in a voice that was neither too loud nor too soft, "There are so many people everywhere. Really, it's a good thing that we're used to it. It's not like some small-time celebrities, who finally see people like them and can't stop jumping around." The assistant said, "That's right, Sister Xiaoyuan, hurry up and eat. These are all food from Zhuang's restaurant that we brought in from outside. It's much better than the dirty food in the cafeteria." Lin Che gritted his teeth and ignored her. Shin Xiaoyuan snorted and looked in Lin Che's direction. She said, "How can such a small-minded person achieve anything? Isn't he just relying on his relationship with Jiyu Jingyu? In my eyes, I don't care about this kind of person at all." After a day of filming, Lin Che was extremely tired. At night, he lay down in the dormitory. Another small-time actress came over and tried to get close to him. She had just filmed some supporting roles and was still young. She had been trying to get close to Shin Xiaoyuan for a long time. This time, she didn't forget Lin Che. She also came over and talked for a long time, constantly praising Lin Che's good skin. Shin Xiaoyuan came in and snorted. She put the water basin on the table rudely and said, "Yeah, your face is also quite beautiful. Where did you get it done?" Lin Che glared at her. Just then, his phone rang. She looked at it and saw that it was Jiyu Jingzi. She, who had been tired for the whole day, immediately jumped up and ran out to pick up the phone. Shin Xiaoyuan snorted and said rudely, "Who wants to listen to your call? You even ran out to pick it up. You're being so mysterious." Chapter 280. Seeing that he had gone out, the girl said, "Did he call Jiyu Jingyu? Didn't they always say that they are together?" Shin Xiaoyuan laughed. "Forget it. Jiyu Jingyu is such an important person. Why would he find an actress? Why do you think Jiyu Jingyu has never had a scandal for so many years? Do you think it's because he doesn't want to? People say it's because Jiyu Jingyu's surname is Jiyu. What kind of family is the Jiyu family? They have all kinds of young ladies. Why would Jiyu Jingyu be with Jiyu Jingyu? Just listen to these rumors. It's already good enough for her to find a rich man to live with after she becomes famous." Shin Xiaoyuan didn't believe that she really had anything to do with Jiyu Jingyu. She was just bluffing. But she was really curious. She didn't know what call Lin Che had received, so she quickly went out. Outside, Lin Che was holding the phone when he heard Jiyu Jingzi asking, "Did everything go well today?" "Yeah, it was fine. What are you doing?" Lin Che asked, leaning against the wall. "I'm working." "Oh, you still have to work so late?" "Yeah, waiting for a video conference abroad." He could hear that it was very empty on the other side. His voice was muffled. It seemed that he was in his office. Lin Che could imagine that he was in his office, holding his phone in one hand and typing on the keyboard with the other. He looked focused and lazy. He had seen that look countless times before. But now, it was clearly in front of him through the phone line. It was so handsome. Lin Che said to the phone, "Aren't you very busy? Don't call me. Do your work and go to bed early tonight. Don't stay up too late." Jiyu Jingzi said, "It's okay. I won't be busy in a while. Are you tired today?" "It's okay. Is the reality show fun?" "Yeah, it's quite interesting. The school is nice too. But it was really tiring." She coughed as she spoke. Her throat was itchy. The wind in the corridor was a little strong. She thought she might have been blown by the wind. He immediately heard the sound of coughing on the other end of the phone. "Why are you coughing?" "It's okay. I'm in the corridor. It might be a little windy. I'll go in first." "Okay, go in." "Okay. Go to bed early too." Lin Che said, "Don't stay up too late. Just take care of yourself." You don't know anything outside. I'm not a silly kid. Of course I know how to take care of myself. Alright, I'm hanging up. Lin Che immediately hung up the phone and coughed. He was about to get some water to moisten his throat. He had been screaming the whole day, and his throat was very uncomfortable. At night, Xin Xiaoyuan had been tossing and turning in bed, constantly complaining that the bed was too hard and the dormitory smelled too bad. She called her assistant and complained for a long time, saying that she had a villa at home, a Simmons, and everything else. Why did she have to suffer here? Lin Che thought that he had caught a cold, so he quickly called Sister Yu. In order not to affect the filming, Sister Yu asked Yang Lingxin to send him some cold medicine. Yang Lingxin soon arrived. In the corridor, she handed the medicine to Lin Che. Before he could take it, Lin Che's phone rang again. She picked up the phone, looked at it, and her eyes lit up again. It was still Jiyu Jingze who called. She quickly picked up the phone. Jiyu Jingze, you haven't slept yet. Come out. What? I told you to come out of the dormitory. Otherwise, do you want me to come up? Ah, you're at school? Lin Che didn't expect him to actually come. He quickly said, okay, I'll go out now. But how did you come in? Jiyu Jingze only said mildly, just come out. Hurry up, don't dawdle. Lin Che hurriedly said a few os and hung up. At the side, Yang Lingxin looked at Lin Che in surprise. Sister Che, who was that? Lin Che smiled and said, I think Jiyu Jingze is here. I'll go out and take a look. Lin Che couldn't hide the joy on his face. Although he didn't know why he was here and why he suddenly came, he couldn't help but smile at the thought of him actually coming to school in the middle of the night. Yang Lingxin's eyes froze. She stood there and looked at Lin Che's happy face. She glanced at Yang Lingxin and ran out. Yang Lingxin's mouth moved, and her gaze also looked outside. Why could she be so happy? Just because she met Jiyu Jingze, she was held in the palm of Jiyu Jingze's hand and doted on. Lin Che ran out and went downstairs. He saw Jiyu Jingze's car parked outside. Lin Che quickly jumped down the stairs. Jiyu Jingze opened the car door and stepped out. He raised his head and looked at Lin Che. Slow down. Why are you running so fast? He frowned. Lin Che looked at the car behind him. The school doesn't allow people to drive. Why are you? This is the girls' dormitory area. People aren't allowed in. You, Jiyu Jingze held Lin Che and placed a hand on her forehead. You don't have a fever. Lin Che blinked her big eyes and looked at him. Of course, I don't have a fever. But I'm still coughing. Here's some medicine. Take it first. Ah. Lin Che looked at Jiyu Jingze speechlessly. How did you know I had a cold? Jiyu Jingze passed her a glass of water. Open your mouth. Lin Che opened her mouth and swallowed the medicine. She looked at Jiyu Jingze and asked, Are you here to give me medicine? Lin Che looked at him. Although he remained silent and only placed the cup of water to the side, Lin Che still felt a trace of warmth in his heart. Jiyu Jingze looked at her and quickly took off his jacket. He reached out, opened the jacket, and put it on her. Lin Che looked to the side carefully and realized that there was no one around. Only his people were standing in a row at the back. Lin Che said, How did you get in with so many people? Jiyu Jingze said, Drive. Lin Che thought that he was right. He was Jiyu Jingze. If he wanted to come in, who would dare to stop him? Jiyu Jingze looked to the side and asked his people to leave first. He looked at Lin Che's thin body, grabbed her shoulders, and brought her into his arms. Her body was so cold. He frowned and said, Why didn't you put on your clothes before coming out? Lin Che remembered that they were in front of the dormitory building, so she quickly pushed his chest. Let go of me. What are you doing? Jiyu Jingze's body didn't move at all. No matter how hard she pushed, it didn't work. Lin Che was anxious. She frowned and looked up at his face. Looking at her little head, he said, Don't move. No, I really can't do it here, Jiyu Jingze. Jiyu Jingze frowned and looked at her unhappily. It seemed that he didn't have much patience. I told you not to move. But, without waiting for her to say anything, He lowered his lips and kissed her. Lin Che's mouth was engulfed by him. She felt him prying open her lips bit by bit. It seemed like he was nibbling and teasing her lips. What a disobedient woman. Why did she have to resist when he asked her to? Who else would he punish if not her? Jiyu Jingza's kiss was heavy and urgent, attacking Lin Che's soul again and again. Her taste was really too sweet. Unknowingly, his lips became even more forceful, as if he wanted to suck her entire body into his. Even though he had tried countless times, he still couldn't resist her body. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.